It's August the 18th, 2024. I am Actual Pearl, and I am. Wait. Where's. Jeremy's not here, and it's just me. So I guess this is great. Well, first of all, welcome. This is In the Weeds. Again, it is August 16th, 2024. There is plenty to talk about today in the world of wrestling, but I mean, why? I could do this whole thing with Jeremy. I could. Or I could air my grievances live on the air. Wouldn't that be fun? No, I couldn't do that. Could you imagine if it's just me for the next, God knows, 2 hours, let's say, just airing grievances all over the internet? It's just me. It's just me-oos. Day one-ish. Hello, chat. It's good to see you. If you haven't already, leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to us here at Fightful Overbooked. We're marching ahead, growing our channel. Tell your friends about us. Jeremy and I are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. Eastern until noon, doing all the talk. Sometimes it's wrestling, sometimes it's not. I get up early. I don't know about y'all. Let me tell you about Fridays. Fridays are fun because I'm up every day at 6 a.m., but I go to bed late on Thursday nights because of TNA post show. I have 2 hours. I have 2 hours if I wanted of this stuff. But regardless, I'm here. I could do 2 hours of grievances. We can start with Jeremy. Should I air my grievances of Jeremy Lambert? No. I'm too nice to do that to Jeremy Lambert. But eventually he might show up to work. I don't know if
that means you need to shut the fuck up. That's what I do if I don't have no army. I would fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Hello, Joel.
Hey, Jeremy.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Good. I don't like this close-up angle. We got to.
I don't know what happened.
There we go.
Did you do that?
I just popped on the show. Sorry, I apologize for being late, everybody. I was taking care of stuff, but I'm here.
You're here. You're good. You're ready. You're prepped.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm always prepped. I'm always ready.
You're like Matt Cardona.
Not injured.
Well, I mean, he's supposedly not either. He's going to have a match at Emergence, for TNA.
He's going to have a match next week, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
He's a part of a 6-man tag next week on TNA. That's right.
Yeah. I watched the product.
So do I. Sometimes I watch it in the future.
Oh, all right.
Anyway, plenty to talk about. Where do you want to start? I mean, you're here. That's the start. I know you're always here. You're always busy. Can we start with your midnight drop? Your huge news article that you put on the website?
No.
No?
Not huge news. I never said news. I said article.
You did say article. To me, it's news.
It is.
Worthy.
It is. It is news. But I don't want this misconstrued as I promised some big breaking monumental news. News was never said. I said monumental article. Here's a story for everybody. So
hold on. Sorry, before you tell the story, you will stick with your words. I will stick with mine. It was huge news. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. I tweet this thing that I monumental article dropping Fightful midnight. I specifically said not news because people would be like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? Blah, 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 blah. That's why I said article. I'm smart with my words. I get a message from one Sean Ross Sapp at 10:14 p.m. Eastern time. What is happening at midnight that people are asking me about, and why is it happening? So I don't know who was messaging Sean after I made this tweet. No idea. But Sean Ross Sapp got messages about whatever I promised at midnight. And all I told him, I said, there's an article I'm posting at midnight. I specifically said article. I never said news. And I've had this article pre-written for days, weeks, in fact. And he's like, okay, that was it. That was the entire conversation. But yes, apparently enough people, maybe important people, I don't know, but enough people messaged Sean asking, what's happening at Fightful at midnight? And that he had to message me and be like, what the hell did Jeremy do now?
You know what really upset me was that the article had nothing to do with Sid. But I feel like here's the thing. If you ever do a Sid article, that has to go on select.
Yeah, I don't. But then like people get mad about that. Like unless it actually is news about Sid, that would be
Well,
something,
that's what I'm
right?
talking about. Yeah. I'm talking like an actual news article about Sid. Like if he comes out and does like, a big announcement or does a big appearance, then yeah, that's where you put it on select. That's where you put it behind the paywall. That's fine. If it's just like, this day in Sid history, no thanks. Leave that alone. The monumental article, to use your words, however, is the big news that Jeff Jarrett has reached 1 year, 365 days as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre champion. On the day after, because it is the next day, but the same timeline as the big news of AEW coming back to Texas in 2025 in July for what is now going to be effectively called Y'all In.
Yes, I've heard
Very,
that.
of course, you got to use it. I mean, it's Texas.
Yeah.
It's fun. Can't hate it. This was big news for Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett is going to go from main eventing Dynamite a couple weeks ago. He's going to main event AEW All Out against Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship, manifesting. And then a year later, he's going to walk in to Globe Life Field, Texas Rangers Stadium, Arlington, Texas. He's going to walk in as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
Do you think so?
As long as he's holding that Texas Chainsaw Massacre belt, I think so. And I haven't seen him put it on the line yet, so clearly we're doing something right.
I hope so. I hope Jeff Jarrett is the AEW World Champion going into All In next year. He certainly should be. I mean, if it was my booking, he would. He's undefeated in Texas Chainsaw Deathmatch Champion title defenses, so I feel like he's earned his title shot. I don't know
rankings.
how you would argue otherwise about that.
Yeah, that puts him to the top of the rankings. In a company where rankings have mattered, Jeff Jarrett has been the top.
Yeah.
He's my tribal chief. He's my Texas chief. Jeff Jarrett's going to come into Y'all In, and he's going to rue the entire show. He's going to own the show. Anyway, All In Texas is next year. A little bit closer to our conversation from Monday about the stadium shows and potential of AEW. I guess this was on Wednesday. The AEW stadium shows. You run one in July. If the Australia show comes together, I'm still closer to saying December is the landing point. And I'm not reporting anything. I'm really just speaking logistics. I could see it being in December, but what do you think? You saw Texas. Did you think about going to Texas for a minute when they announced it?
I didn't think much of anything. And I was like, all right, sure. I broke this news, by the way. Sean actually broke it when he talked about the stadium show. But if you look at who tweeted about All In Texas first, it was me. Because I knew what was going on. I had the heads up on things. I tried to get that sweet $17 worth of engagement money by tweeting this out first.
How'd that work out? Did it work?
I don't know. I didn't get paid in whenever I'll get paid. Who knows? Who could possibly care? If I'm not, using my Twitter for a bunch of engagement money here. I'll go broke very quickly if I tweeted as much as I worked. Maybe that pays bills. I don't know. I don't know how much these people actually get off of this. That doesn't seem like a lot, but I feel like Wrestle Features probably does well, right?
Well, now that they're no longer going to tweet about Dave Meltzer, they're not going to make nearly as much anymore.
Oh, is that what they said?
That's what they're saying.
Well, yeah, their money's going to go way down if they're not going to tweet about Dave.
I know. What are we going to do?
Got to tweet about his star ratings.
Got to get those match ratings.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how else will you argue with people you've never met on the internet who have also subjective opinions about professional-based styles of wrestling? You gonna argue with SB3?
I mean, people probably should argue with SB3. SB3 does a good job with the match ratings.
That's fair. You know what? I'm not a match ratings guy. I know we talk about it on the show. It's, you like what you like or you don't. That's just the way it is for me. If something is worth going back to watch, this is one thing I've heard before, and that is the only star rating that the one person is giving is when they like a match. They give it a star, as in I would go back and watch this. It's important for me to note this. That's the star. Everything else just exists.
Sure.
It's the star is something of importance. It's not literally saying this match is a star. It's saying that, oh yeah, you should go back and watch this match if you liked it. That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah. I'm with you.
What about chat? Chat, are you guys going to Texas? Do you want to go to Texas for y'all in?
So here's what I'll say about this show, because I think this part is important. Well, it's great that AEW's running a stadium show in the US. All this dumb AEW's dying. They're about to do 50,000 in a week. All right, they're fine. They're doing Texas next year. They'll probably do about 40,000 at that stadium, because I think that's about what it holds for baseball. They'll conduce it for wrestling. Still do 40,000. Yeah, one thing Jason points out, like All In being in July spaces it out better for All Out. I assume they won't have an August pay-per-view now, which would probably be good, but maybe they will. Maybe they're going to go to a monthly model. We'll see how things shake out. The biggest takeaway I had for all of this was the branding of All In and making it their biggest show, which I always talk about the perception of these shows, and people are like, oh, they shouldn't put one above another. Like, no, they're telling you that All In's above the rest because of where they run it. And they're continuing to tell you that All In is above the rest because it's another stadium show. All In is their biggest show. And that's what they're telling you. They're telling you that by running Wembley back to back. They're telling you that by running a stadium now in Texas. That good. They should brand these shows as like, yes, this show is actually our biggest show of the year. Everyone should want to come to this show. Everyone should want to travel to this show. It doesn't lessen the value or the importance of these other shows. It enhances a singular show. And then you might enhance more shows off of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just good marketing. So I love that they announced this a year ahead of time. I love that they're promoting it the way they are. Mercedes is mentioned in her Moné mag. I'll get the name right so she doesn't get mad at me. She mentioned in the
Moné mad.
Yeah, that's good. She mentioned in her Moné mag that All In is their WrestleMania. It's their Super Bowl. Good. Advertise it as such. You should be doing these things. Tell people that this show is important, and it's more important than all your other shows. Yes, the other shows are very important, but don't sell me on, All In, it's going to be a great show. You know what also was great? This episode of Dynamite on August 14th. This is also a very big show. No, it's not. It's not as big as All In. Don't lump them together. So good. I love the branding. I love that they're making this their WrestleMania. They should.
Yeah, when I saw that they were doing this and I saw that it's going to be All In Texas, do the stadium, it made sense on multiple levels. Everything that you said, and on top of that, people are, you said it yourself. People are saying, "Oh, the brand is dying, blah blah blah." No, they're going to do 50,000 in Wembley. Are they doing 80,000 at Wembley? No, but that's also because they're doing back to back. It is what it is. However, you take a year off. Maybe next year is a tour. They do a Dynamite and a Collision and a Rampage. Maybe they can do it live to tape, whatever it is. If they go back and do a UK tour next year in 2025, then I think that opens up the hunger for when they come back in 2026. Because Tony Khan did say All In 2026, they're going back to the UK, they're going back to London. Did he say Wembley specifically, or he just said London?
He said London.
Okay.
And maybe that means Wembley, maybe that just means London. I think maybe they already have it booked out, no idea. But he said London, and I think that's probably just a fail safe in case Wembley doesn't end up working out, and they can still do London at some point. It's good to take a year off. People are gonna be very dumb of like, oh, they're selling half of what they sold last year. They're still doing 40,000. They're still doing 50,000. It's good. And yeah, now you take a year off from things, and you make the market a little bit hotter. You go back there. You go back there for in 2026. Boris mentioned he didn't say All In. Truth, like factually, yes, correct. But it was all part of All In. He's like, we're going to do All In. We're going All In for London in a week, All In next year in Texas, and then we're going back to London in like the context was definitely mentioning All In. The Wembley, that felt very specific of not saying Wembley and saying London instead. But the context was definitely All In. Maybe it won't be All In, but you're correct in saying he didn't specifically say All In, but the lead up was all about All In. The London part felt very specific of saying London and not Wembley.
The name on the contract says Wembley, but it's Wembley Arena.
I mean, could happen.
It could be, honestly. Yeah. So listen, we're 2 years away from the return to London, as Tony Khan had put it. But it does feel like if they go back 2025, it's going to be a mini tour with some television intact. They're about to do Wales next week for Dynamite. That's their first outside of North America episode of Dynamite. I don't count taping on a cruise ship. This is a live show that they're doing and that they're producing and that they're going to broadcast. This is a big deal for AEW. This is kind of a maiden voyage for them doing that. They've done the pay-per-view, so they know that they can do it, but now they're going to produce a TV show as well, which includes hitting commercials and all that stuff and just having their partners involved. This will be good. This is a good opportunity for them. But next year, Texas at the Globe Life Stadium, we had reported it on Fightful Select, and it's come to fruition. Looking forward to that. I think they'll do quite well. I think that people will come. It is a major hub in terms of flights, and also Texas is it's a massive state for one, but there's a lot to see there. A lot to see in Texas. Wondering how much the accommodations are going to cost for those who are headed that way. I probably will not be going. I'd sooner be going to Grand Slam because it's closer, and because I can go and bother Andrew Zarian if I really wanted to. He's easier to get a hold of in New York. It's just the way it is. Trying to get him to go to Texas, not a thing. You can only find Andrew Zarian in like 3 different places: New York, not LA, New York, Las Vegas, or in your bathroom mirror when you say his name 3 times. Try it out.
Okay.
Anyway. Well, that's basically the show. There's nothing else to talk about. Dynamite happened, and it was basically a 2-hour pre-Wembley show. Coffin match? You gonna be coughing your way through that match? No, I got nothing. I'm sorry.
That wasn't great. Here's some news for everybody.
I like news.
Let's actually try to bring this person on. I'm gonna send him a link. Adrian Hernandez just dropped an interview with.
He's pretty good. This was his big deal.
Yeah, with Steve Austin. He asked about WrestleMania 40, which is obviously what people want to know about. Was Austin contacted? Was he lined up for the event? And Austin said it was close. They reached out. We had conversations. My wife and I had some things going on, and I didn't need to go to Philly at that time. So there you go. There's the scoop for everybody that Steve Austin was contacted for WrestleMania 40. Steven Jensen will now, rest easy about things. And he had other stuff going on. Doesn't mean he didn't want to. He said he missed it. Like he loved Philly. Had other stuff going on. So quit burying Steve Austin, Steven Jensen, acting like Steve Austin didn't show up for Cody.
I'm pretty sure that it was you. Was it you who was trolling him on the spotlight?
I'm the only person that trolls Steven Jensen.
Well, no, I mean, sometimes it's like, I'm trying to remember I know the context was after WrestleMania because The Undertaker showed up and everyone had posited that it should have been Stone Cold. And I just remember he wanted to talk about it, and then it turned into a whole conversation. Just go watch the post WrestleMania episode of The Spotlight, where Steven Jensen was having a grand old time until Jeremy Lambert broke his bubble with Stone Cold Steve Austin appearance notes or non-appearance notes, right?
Adrian is doing his own show right now. Wow.
No, he's not. Tell him to take a break, an extended break. Come on to our show. He can do it. Wouldn't be the first time. Probably would be the first time. He's got nothing better to do. It's 8 a.m. there, 7 a.m. there, even
Yeah, it's
better.
early.
A lot of these guys do it early. I don't know what it is. It's very strange. Oh, Val makes a very good point. He is a cat dude now, Steve Austin.
True.
Perfect angel baby and a sweetheart to cats. I wouldn't call him perfect, but he certainly has come a long way from the last 30 years. Excuse me, I had to cough. Dynamite. Oh man. Okay. Where do you want to start on Dynamite? There is a lot to go through in terms of all in build. I did kind of mention the coffin match. This was a very video heavy episode of Dynamite. And I can't tell you that I hated that. I actually quite liked it. Some of the videos were really well done. The Darby one was a good example of that. Content was good for the most part. My only gripe was Darby playing the baby face who thinks that who thinks that Jack Perry hasn't paid his dues to AEW. I don't always love that from any character. That's the idea that the wrestlers are part of an ensemble cast, not in it for themselves. And I understand that that's going to be nitpicky, but I just don't like the doing it for AEW or doing it for WWE or doing it like it's not, you know what I mean? It's doing it for NXT or TNA, whatever it is. I'm happier when the wrestlers are having an interpersonal feud, not defending the company itself. Maybe that's why I didn't like Blood and Guts that much either. But either way, they're going to do a TNT title match is now a coffin match. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a fun match. Do you think they include some real glass?
Probably.
Would it be real glass or would they cross a river and do sugar again?
Nah, if it's Darby and Jack Perry, it'd be real glass. People are speculating that it might be a glass coffin
Glass
match.
coffin, I
Which
was
would
going to
be
say.
hilarious.
I would love to see that. Jack Perry just brings out a glass coffin and it doesn't break. It's like reinforced and everything's fine, but everyone just kind of gets the joke and that's it. Or maybe the glass coffin then shoots out some sort of like mist at the end and then that's how they bury him in smoke. Shout out to the band Down. They're great. Just great. Oh man. Yeah, I'm trying to go off my brain. What happened to Good Riddance? Your boy? No WWE footage. I'm sorry.
It didn't bother me.
We had a whole long conversation about why it should happen, but WWE was nowhere to be found. We're not saying that they didn't ask, but we're just saying it didn't happen.
Yeah, so that's one thing I again want to make clear is like we don't know if they even asked. So obviously they're not going to use footage if they didn't ask to use footage. For all we know, they were just like, well, we can put together a strong enough video package, and they did without WWE footage. So they didn't bother to ask at all. Maybe people who talk to Tony Khan in the next week. Sure, he's gonna be doing a bunch of media. I'm sure he's gonna be doing a media call next week. Maybe they'll get asked. Maybe Bryan will get asked for people who talk to Bryan in the next week. I'm sure he's gonna be doing a bunch of media as well. So maybe we'll get an answer to that. As far as the video package goes, it was really good, as you would expect. It was a great video package using the footage that they did have, and AEW does really well with these video packages. And this is another strong one. I really like the closing of this too. That Swerve said he's going to cripple Danielson, and he's going to cripple him in front of his kids.
His daughter's going to throw in the towel for him.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Although the drama would be hilarious. No, this was that was good. It made me kind of think. I was like, remember how for a while people were saying, "Oh, Swerve has been presented as a heel, but now he's a babyface. Now he's no." It's been pretty well established that, with the exception of the Christian Cage feud, he's been the heel. Swerve has. He's a popular heel. He's an anti-hero heel. I thought that was something that was kind of worth bringing up again, just because, there have been some, I don't know if it's bad faith. They're just people maybe don't fully pay attention. Swerve has been the bad guy throughout all of these. And it's on Swerve to find ways to get booed every time. I guess maybe this is a long-winded way of asking, is it time to get rid of Prince Nana and the dance?
I don't think so. No,
Nope.
I wouldn't go that far. It's part of it, because like you have to then take away the Who's House, because that's also a babyface pop, is the Who's House. So if you're going to take away Nana, you got to take away that as well. And I don't know if they want to go that far. And Swerve's probably going to be back to getting all the babyface reactions after this match when he likely enters back into everything going on with Hangman, who is a babyface in his mind, but is also now portrayed as the heel. By the way, I don't mind any of this Swerve kind of playing the role he needs to play based on who he's facing. I've said this before. Like, I think Swerve, Hangman, they pull it off. Bryan Danielson pulls it off. It's when it's happening elsewhere in the card that it loses a little bit of luster. And what I mean by that is you've got Christian and the trio stuff where everybody's kind of a heel, but maybe there's some baby faces in there. You've got the tag team stuff where I don't want to root for any of these teams. But the Young Bucks, I guess, are the biggest heels of them all. Like, that's where it becomes a little just, I don't like any of these people. And their motivations aren't as defined as Swerve. Swerve, very defined character. Get no issue with him taking the route he needs to take based on who he's facing. It's elsewhere on the card where you don't define it enough that it becomes a little muddy.
We'll get back to the Bucks and Acclaimed and FTR stuff in a little bit. The Swerve storyline has continued to evolve in a way that I, like you were just saying, it makes sense. You are picking your favorite, and people are saying, Swerve is a tweener. They're doing it in a way where you're picking your favorite, but they're not muddying up the story too much.
Yeah,
by doing it. When you had the match with Ospreay, it was about Tiger Driver. It was about Ospreay is the best, or who is the best. It was about Ospreay coming in and eclipsing Swerve's popularity, and Swerve saying, well, no, I'm the champion, I'm the guy, and I can do you better than you can. There was some really good, again, the storytelling was there with two popular acts, and fans chose accordingly. Bryan Danielson, it's the same situation. Now you just got a guy who's more of a veteran and now has put his career on the line. And the focus is, everybody loves Bryan Danielson because Danielson has been around for a long time. Danielson has been the most likable character in AEW. And on top of it, he's the guy who might be going out. Or this could be his big moment where he finally wins the AEW World Championship and Swerve is there to play spoiler. But again, Swerve is incredibly popular and he knows that he's good at this. And there's the confidence. That is, again, that's part of the Swerve way, is the confidence makes him more popular and more well-liked by the crowd. So he presents in a way where people who like him like his swagger, but they don't necessarily like his morals, if you will, in a character way. And that's good stuff. That is good storytelling in a bubble, and it works. So I'm going to see what the Hangman story brings if and when they revisit that going into Chicago and go out of All In, if that's going to become people cheering Swerve because Swerve is right, or is Hangman going to present his arguments and kind of like what's going on in WWE with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, fans are going to have to pick one, and it's a delicate story, but this one has gone on long enough that people can pick a side and not be completely turned off by the result. It's good stuff is what I'm getting at. It's nice.
How do you feel about potentially, this is not confirmed, but I believe it was Ibu of Wrestle Purist who said Hangman Swerve all out is the plan.
I did see that.
I've seen a lot of people little upset over 2-week build for that. This seems like an argument you would make, Joel. It's like, it's only 2 weeks, even though they got years of history.
And you know what? I would like that. I would like this to have been fleshed out a little bit longer. I'm wondering how they, not how they get there, because how they get there is very easy, but how quickly they heap the heat on it, because the story's there and people are ready for it. But what can they do that quickly to make you so excited for the match to happen that quickly? Does that make sense? What are they going to do that is that quickly going to make this match so red hot that they have to see it? People want to see the match. Do not get me wrong. But they slow burned it last time in a way that, they did the home invasion and all that stuff. Now we're in a but now it's a blood feud that's been percolating for the last little while. Can we do it so quickly that we come right back to it, and in 2 weeks we just basically over the next, was it 6 shows that will go between the end of All In into All Out, those television shows, I'm including Rampage and Collision. You almost have to make it so that they are inseparable and that you're pulling them apart at every seam, and you cannot stop them until you finally say, okay, we're doing the match and it's going to be at All Out. You two can't keep your hands off each other. Well, then you're going to get your hands on each other officially. That's how I would do it. Is if you're going to do it that quickly, you're going to make it so that these two just can't be separated. That's where I'm at.
They can heat this thing up very quickly. It ain't going to take a lot.
I agree.
Swerve loses at All In. Next Dynamite, he comes out. Before he even gets a word out, Hangman Page is out there. And they ain't even got to say anything. They just start throwing. And fans are invested immediately. Like, all right, yep. We know what this is all about. That's it. Ain't got to do a whole lot. Fans want this match. They're clamoring for this match. They think that this match should be at All In. And I don't think those fans are wrong, by the way. I've seen a lot of people say of like, oh, Danielson was definitely the right choice. Danielson was definitely the right choice. Look, I was advocating for Danielson before this whole thing came to fruition. Everyone knows that. I'm not going to sit here and essentially retcon things of now being like, oh, Danielson was the right choice because of how quickly they've been able to heat this up. Yeah, they heated it up. They could have done the same thing and then some with Swerve and Hangman. Everyone would have been like, oh, Swerve and Hangman was the right choice. Swerve and Hangman was the right choice. They've done a great job with Swerve and Danielson. A fantastic job with Swerve and Danielson. That doesn't mean they couldn't have done the same job, if not better, with Swerve and Hangman.
Yeah, I largely agree. I am. This is why I'm like, if you're gonna do it in 2 weeks, you gotta make it count. That's a big match to be using at this point. At the same time, what's the next major event? It's what, Grand Slam? Grand Slam would have been a good time to do it too. I don't know if it's a title match, like you said. There's a feeling, this is the good thing about doing the Danielson and Swerve match at All In and everything that's going on. People are very much on the what if story. In other words, what if Swerve wins? What if Danielson wins? There are multiple layers to that. And most people are sitting here and saying, Danielson's going to win. He's got to win. He has to win. That's the way it is. Cool. But what if Swerve wins? What if Swerve retains? And what if Hangman gets involved directly afterwards? People are mentioning the Casino Gauntlet. There is the addition that, yes, the Casino Gauntlet does not have a time frame for when that person gets their title match. If Hangman goes out and he's the winner of the Casino Gauntlet, could he come out at the end of All In if Swerve retains and immediately launch into my title matches at All Out in 2 weeks? Get ready. I'm going to beat your ass. Then guess what? We're off to the races and we're going to get a hot main event for All Out. But I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if that's happening, or Danielson's going to win. And then and then I guess Swerve's just going to be like, I have nothing left to lose. I'm going to go after Hangman. Maybe Hangman costs him the match. I don't know. That's why this has kind of made it a very fun story.
I wouldn't do Hangman costing Swerve the match against Danielson. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
You can't devalue Danielson's win in that way. If Danielson's going to win, it's got to be clean. They just got to have a clean match and Danielson wins. I wouldn't do Hangman coming in at any point because yes, Hangman is part of the story. He's got the stuff going on with Jarrett right now, but the story is Bryan Danielson. The story is Bryan Danielson and his career. And he needs to, if he's going to win, he needs to win clean. He doesn't need, Hangman came in there. I don't think that unless you're going to tell a story with Hangman and Danielson afterwards of like the only reason you still have a career is because of me. And I don't think maybe that's the direction they're going to go. I guess it's possible. I don't see it, but it's possible.
Val's bringing up the idea, and this is something that a lot of us have talked about and continue to think about, and that's Wrestle Dream. It's going to be in Tacoma, Washington. That's the backyard of Swerve and Bryan Danielson and Darby Allin, who's, he's not out of the world title picture either. He's got the Grand Slam title match, and that can still have reverberations after Grand Slam. Can they, does this change the trajectory of everything? Does Hangman win the title and then bring it into enemy territory against Swerve? And now Swerve is the conquering hero coming back to his home state and taking back the title. That's something that's been put out there before. I don't hate it as an idea. Let Hangman really get the heat and be like, why are you booing me? I'm right. And Swerve comes out, and despite all of his stuff, he's cheered amongst his hometown crowd. There's a story in there too I like.
So when it comes to Wrestle Dream, it obviously is going to depend on who wins the title match. I feel that's Danielson's. I feel that's his send off. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think Danielson wins next week. I think Hangman beats him at Wrestle Dream, and that's how you really get even more heat on Hangman. Is he beats Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Dream, and Danielson, after losing, gets his big ovation by the crowd. It's a kind of a mutual understanding. This is it, full time. That's that. And Hangman is now the top guy in AEW again. If you're doing Swerve and Hangman at All Out, then that basically says Hangman's got to win that match, is the thing. Unless he wins the Casino Gauntlet, and then they just do Swerve and Hangman at All Out, and Swerve wins, but Hangman still has a title shot. But I don't love that scenario. Doing Hangman and Swerve at All Out, kind of, again, they could go in a bunch of different directions. We're just kind of fantasy armchairing here of what I think could happen. If you're doing Hangman and Swerve at All Out, and then Hangman and Danielson at Wrestle Dream, Hangman seems like he's got to win both of those matches. And I don't know if you want to do Hangman beating Swerve. Maybe they do, but I don't know if they want to.
I like that there are options on the table, because once upon a time there haven't been. There are more stories on the table than we've seen, in the last little bit, which is fun. So coming out of All In, even going into All In, we're sitting here wondering what's the end of for Danielson. What happens if Danielson loses? He goes part-time. Again, I want to reiterate, if he wins the title. It could be a short reign for all we know. We know he's banged up as Bryan Danielson, and it could be easy as he's in and then he's out. He could lose it in 2 weeks. Maybe he just drops it all out. I don't think so, but who knows? On the other hand, if Danielson loses, the stipulation is what? Retirement? Or does he just become a part-time wrestler?
No, he retires.
Or does he just become a part-time wrestler?
He can't lose.
Time active in-ring competition.
No, he can't lose and then wrestle again 2 months from now.
Oh, I didn't say 2 months from now. I didn't say 2 months from now, but somewhere down the line.
Well, I said 2 months because Wrestle Dreams in, I guess technically, no, it's October. It's early October. So yeah, 2 months. I feel like he'd be part of that. He can't lose and then just be a part-time wrestler. If he's going to lose, that's got to be the end of his career. I don't want this bullshit of, oh, I lost my retirement match. Oh, don't worry. And now I'll just wrestle again. I'll just be a part-time guy. That's dumb. That's a disservice to your audience. That's a cop-out to your audience. And I don't think the audience won't like it because, it's Bryan Danielson. They're going to love whatever they do. But I still think it's a cop-out. I think it's an absolute cop-out. And I think it makes this, I do think it will play to the audience of, oh, well, Bryan Danielson to retire. Like, I think it lessens the value of this match.
However, I'll play devil's advocate for a second and stop being weird in the chat. Do you, and I feel like I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to put it out anyway. This idea that Danielson wins, he gets the title, but we know he's banged up. He's already said it in kayfabe. He said it out loud, and it's known, for real, that he's going to need surgery, that he can't run at the same pace that a world champion typically would. Yeah, you can play that into a storyline. You can play that into every single wrestler who goes after the title is going to target Danielson's injury, whatever that is, neck, arm, shoulders, whatever he says it is. That's what they target. That's wrestling.
Knees and toes.
Yes, the toes part especially. I don't think people understand just how painful it is to stub your toe. Go ahead. Everybody go right now. Go to the nearest piece of furniture that you have and stub your toe.
Yeah.
Come back and tell me how much that hurts. Anyway, is it doing, I don't think disservice is the right term, but we're going to use disservice for the idea of, I have no other words. Is it a disservice to fans if Danielson wins, as banged up as he is, to keep him wrestling not as infrequently in this case, as the world champion, while there are other people who still would be vying for television time or opportunities, things like that? That's, again, I think I know what you're going to say, but I'm curious as to your reaction.
Well, I feel like we've already had this conversation. There's no disservice because he's going to be defending it. If he wins, he's going to defend it, I would assume, at All Out. He does a match at All Out. And then he's going to defend it at Grand Slam, which is 2 weeks after All Out. And then he's going to defend it, and I think lose it, at Wrestle Dream, which is like 2 weeks after Grand Slam. So he's going to have 3 title defenses in the span of 6 weeks. And then he should lose it at Wrestle. It shouldn't be a long reign. It shouldn't. And then he loses, and then he rides off, and he can be a part-time guy after all of that. So, no, there's no disservice because in my planning, I'm having him defend it every 2 weeks, and I'm doing a quick reign with him.
Counterpoints? Jeff Jarrett should take the title from him at All Out.
Okay.
Fine by me? Fine by you?
Sure.
And then Jeff Jarrett goes on and he takes on Darby Allin at Grand Slam.
Okay.
And then he gets Swerve. Listen, we're just booking to Texas now. We're just booking to All In 2025. And it's not Bryan Danielson's
came
time.
Out with like an accent there. You were like, Texas now?
Yeah.
You did like an accent there.
I'm supposed to. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, you know what the best part about leaving is? That. So that's where I stand on Y'all In 2025. It's Jeff Jarrett's time. It'll be fun. People are saying Darby Allin wins a Grand Slam. I don't know about that. Darby Allin winning the world championship is something that's certainly on the table. He's very popular. Very, very popular. But I don't know if that's the immediate plan for a guy like Darby. What do you think? Darby is champion at Grand Slam. Maybe he comes into Wrestle Dream with that world title because he is another guy who is Pacific Northwest.
I think Darby should be world champion at some point. The TNT title stuff sort of complicates things in, does he lose to Jack Perry but then go on to win the world title? Does he have both titles? Like, that's where I don't think he's going to win at Wrestle Dream, because he's either going to have both titles at that point, or he's going to be coming off a loss to Jack Perry, and then you're going to put the world title on him. And I don't know if they want to completely do that, but I do think like he should be world champion at some point, and probably soon, honestly.
And Chris is in the chat. He makes a good point. I mean, if Danielson is as busted up as he is reporting, as he is saying, it's tough to think that every 2 weeks you've got a world title match. You got to hope that your body keeps up, and I hope it does, if that is the story that they're telling. Or, he mentions it could be a Mania 30 repeat. He goes, he has one or two title defenses, and then unfortunately can't. I don't want that.
Well, that's why it's a short reign. That's why it's a short reign. So he only has to do a couple matches, and then he loses.
Right. The idea here being, though, that he's able to do those matches. That I think that's really what people are getting at when they talk about this, is that he's able to do it. And I'm sure he can. And Bryan is the type of person who would push himself to do it, even if things were hanging on by a thread.
Okay, well, the opponents matters, right? So All Out It would depend on the opponent. I've said Will Ospreay. That's an opponent that's going to be a tough toll on your body. Darby Allin, that's an easy opponent because Darby's going to do all the work if he wants to. Danielson's a complete sicko and he's going to want to do his shit. But if you want to, Darby can do all the work in that match of just bumping around, flying around, and making Danielson look really strong. Danielson can actually play like more of a monster than really any point of his career. And then the last one would be Hangman. And yeah, that's going to probably be another hard-hitting match. But I don't know if you need a super long match at that point. The story can simply be Bryan Danielson, who needs neck surgery, who's banged up, who is on his last legs, is about to have his fourth match in about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and Hangman beats him in like 12 to 13 minutes. Like, why not? Why can't you do something like that? We all get lost in the epic of everything, and we don't need to. Like, we can do a 12 to 13 minute match where Hangman wins. It's like, oh shit, be a little upset that Hangman Page wins the title in that fashion, that Hangman Page picked the carcass of Bryan Danielson and ended the title reign in that fashion. Use that for Hangman's character.
And use your money to donate a super chat. Any Matt, get your question or statement read on the air because I didn't get to say it earlier. You want to do fireworks? Because I did the thumbs up, but you didn't do the fireworks. Can we get those fireworks? Come on. Let's go fireworks now. I think you have to smile when you do it.
I don't know. Yeah, sometimes the fireworks want to work and sometimes they don't. It just kind
really
of
just
Oh, you know what? I think actually it's
Did you turn it off?
Yeah. So I got like a notification. Hold on. There. Okay. Now let's see it. Okay. We'll see.
Come on, fireworks. There we go. You got both.
Yeah. So I got like a notification of when I was logging in today. I don't know why, but it was like, do you want reactions on Google Chrome? And I didn't click yes or no. I just clicked away, but I guess I just took it as no. So, but I switched it, so it's back.
All right. Well, welcome back, Mac users. Now you know. Big Man Dog's mentioning the Bryan going full heel thing. You and I talked about this. I'm bringing it back around because I still find it interesting. What if Bryan does go heel? What if Bryan joins the Elite and the Elite help him? Specifically, it's the Young Bucks at this point. They help him capture the World Heavyweight Championship from Swerve. What if that is the story? Is that something that resonates? Does that help? Does that help motivate Swerve and Hangman next? Because Hangman's associated with the Elite, and loosely so. He's loosely associated. Swerve would be pissed off because the Elite have screwed him out of his title in some way. Danielson has joined because this was the only way he thinks he could have won. And then he's getting propped up by the Elite for the next little while for that title match, or for his title matches. What do you think? Is there actually a reason to turn Bryan Danielson heel when you've been teasing him as this super underdog babyface, teasing retirement, teasing needing of surgery, for him to turn around and be like, LOL, JK, I screwed you and took your emotions with me?
If they want to do something valuable with the Young Bucks, then yes, this would be a way to go. But I don't think it benefits Bryan Danielson. And I don't think it's something he necessarily wants. I could be wrong. I don't know what Bryan Danielson actually wants, but I don't know if he wants to do it. And I don't think, based on what they're telling, the way they're going, it doesn't feel like it's something they do. I don't mind the story aspect of it. I'm not going to say like I hate the idea, but I think this is an idea that helps the Young Bucks and doesn't necessarily help Bryan Danielson. Because Bryan Danielson's doing fine. The Young Bucks need something. And to do this with Bryan Danielson would be a pretty big something for them. But like, they got Okada. They could be doing all this stuff with Okada. They could be doing a lot with this, but they're not. And they've fallen kind of flat for the past few months now. And this would certainly be something for them, but it benefits them. I don't know if it necessarily benefits Bryan Danielson.
Danielson was wearing the white shirt on Wednesday, so the tease is over. Black shirt, white shirt, doesn't matter.
No, Swerve stole his white shirt.
Just for that one week. Danielson needed to borrow a black shirt. He really just took an AEW logo shirt from the shop, just flipped it inside out, and that was it. That's all he did. I don't think we need to talk much about the match against Wheeler Yuta. It was very one-sided, which was good. It allowed Swerve to basically assert dominance on a BCC member, and Danielson has to look on, and it just kind of gets that last heat going into to the Wembley show. I don't know if you have anything to add there before we do transition to our Young Bucks conversation.
No, it was what it needed to be. It wasn't some 50-50 match as it shouldn't have been. It was largely Swerve dominating. You got the hope spots with Yuta, which is good, and then Swerve like being a prick and putting them away, and then the post-match comments and angle as well. It was a good piece of business there, the way they laid that out.
Yeah, I agree. It was nice. Yuta's a really good seller too. He's good at just kind of playing dead, but also still being affected. So he's not just lying there motionless on the canvas. He's still he's doing little things with his body to make it look like, yeah, this hurts and it sucks. I really like that. He's a bit underrated when it comes to his selling. So figured I'd put that out there. Let's talk about the tag title match.
Okay.
The Acclaim of the Young Bucks, they don't go to a draw. They don't go to anything other than a very strange DQ because FTR tried to be the saviors and then they got duped and then they used the title and the referee caught them. And then Christopher Daniels happened to be looking in the back. Shout out to Renee Paquette, who was like, I was going to ask you something completely different. I want to know what Renee was going to ask Christopher Daniels before this all started. But Daniels says it's FTR versus the Acclaimed on Saturday on Collision.
Why didn't Tony Khan tell Renee in her ear what was going on instead of Christopher Daniels?
It should have been Renee making the. We sat here being like it should have been Tony Schiavone just being, listen up, you pricks. But instead, it should have been Taz. But Taz being like, oh, hey, Announcement Jones over here, letting you know that next week on Collision. I don't what Collision, do I? I don't know. Anyway, Collision in Texas. They're not even in Texas this week, are they? Is it the end of the residency this week?
Yeah, it's the last residency week. Yeah.
Yeah, so for the last residency, it's going to be Young Bucks and the Acclaimed. What do you think about that? Baba Ghoul. Anyway. Instead, no, it's Christopher Daniels, the interim EVP of EVPs, gets to make the announcement that it's going to be those two on Collision. And the winner gets the Young Bucks at All In. A lot of people immediately went to a triple threat because they think it's going to be a time limit draw or the Young Bucks get involved on a Saturday, which is that would be the most shocking part. Is that the Bucks came to work on Saturday in the esports arena.
Now they send Cutler. They just send Cutler. Yeah.
And yes, I did say Baba Ghoul. You're welcome. I would love it if the Bucks come in, they screw everyone, and then they pick up the mic and they're just like, oh, this brings me back to my days in BWG when the room was this big. And they just bury their own company.
That doesn't seem good.
That seems like something the Bucks would do because they love to play the meta game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That seemed great.
Here we are, just before All In. We do not know the tag title situation. We thought we knew, and a lot of people are certainly feeling like Bucks and FTR is not what they'd like to see. On the other hand, they don't necessarily want to see the Bucks and the Acclaimed once again. On the third hand, I don't think people really want to see a triple threat either. What are we doing?
I think it's going to be a time limit draw on Saturday. That's my guess. Maybe the Bucks run out and do an interference. But the problem with that, at least in my mind, is like you just kind of did that with the trio stuff with Christian and him doing the double count out, which effectively works as him just not declaring a winner as the referee. So a time limit draw at least is a different way to get there and gives more credence to, because if they're going to do a 9-man trios match, the impetus of that would be, oh, Christian, you thought you were going to get out of a title defense by declaring no winner. Instead, you're going to face both teams. Like that old trope. It's a million times in wrestling. That would be the same theory with the Young Bucks oh, you think you're gonna get out of a title defense, but you're gonna face both. It's the same way to get there. At least the time limit draw does. All right, well, since neither of you could prove to be better, we're gonna give you both a title shot, and it's less on the interference aspect of it. I don't. It's fine, I guess. I don't have a lot of interest in it. I'm not gonna lie to everybody. Like, if you're into it, cool. More power to you. It'll probably be good. I don't know about great, but it could be great. The Young Bucks are very good. FTR is very good. The Acclaim's good. So it could exceed expectations, but there's not a whole lot behind it that I think fans are really clamoring for.
Yeah. It's here, and the build just hasn't been. It just hasn't been. It was, hey, the Acclaimed have a tag title shot. And instead of the Acclaim getting to call it as I wanted it all in, suddenly it was placed on Dynamite this past week. And then you've got FTR being like, LOL, we're the best and we want the Bucks, and Acclaimed, you suck. And the Acclaim saying, well, you don't love AEW. And no one pointing out to the Acclaim that the FTR were injured, or at least one half of them were, so they were unavailable for the match that they, donated their spines to. Just the build just hasn't been done well. It just hasn't been proper. And I'm ready for it to be done and over with. And it sucks to have to say that this hasn't been built well, considering the amount of praise we just heaped on the main event scene and the things that are building there. Someone saying, is the Elite storyline working? And the answer is no. No, it hasn't. Jeremy, you've sat here week after week saying, they took out Tony Khan, and then what did they do? Nothing happened. That was the biggest moment they could have had, and they didn't capitalize.
They capitalized it because the following week they took out Kenny Omega, and that was good stuff as well. And then it was all downhill after that. And now it's it's just not great. Like, and I'm probably higher on the Young Bucks than I think a lot of fans are, because I think they get a lot of unnecessary hate and everything. But I feel they're one of the best tag teams of this generation. They're certainly influential in wrestling, and then when it comes to outside of the ring kind of stuff. But this stuff just ain't working. And it seems like even the most kind of diehard AEW and Young Bucks and Elite fans are saying that it ain't working. And, it's unfortunate because they had something, and then they fell back into, let's just do the Young Bucks and FTR, and here's the Acclaimed kind of throw in here. And yeah, Corey, like the Elite, Corey Michaels saying the Elite have the power to make talent's lives a living hell in a corporate environment. Said they're just mild inconveniences, went from Succession to The Office. And that's a very good good comparison there. But that's what it is like, you don't really know who the authority is, because Christopher Daniels sometimes does things, but then Tony Khan sometimes relays things through text messages to Leo Rush. And then sometimes the Young Bucks might do something. And then Brandon Cutler is kind of also there as well. And it never got fleshed out. It never got defined. And then you had matches that happened where the only real thing that came out of Anarchy in the Arena and Blood and Guts was Darby Allin getting a TNT title shot. That's it. That's what came out of those two matches. You did these two big matches with the Elite versus AEW, and your big takeaway from two of these matches, two main event matches, hey, Darby Allin got a TNT title shot out of this.
The Bucks have been really good trolls. They've always been very good trolls. They've always been very good.
They haven't even done a great job of like trolling with this stuff though. And I like, especially when I'm seeing Drew McIntyre and the stuff he's doing, I'm like,
that's
the Young Bucks troll game is even kind of weak right now.
Ken's making up good points, saying, maybe Tony got cold feet about appearing on TV more. The dude, it's very funny because Tony shows up in front of the live audience before every episode of Dynamite, and in between every episode of Dynamite, if they're taping Rampage right after. And then what Tony does this thing every time where he does the same, this is a great town, we love wrestling, blah blah blah. And then he talks about when they're going into a taping of Rampage. Do you know what Tony Khan's favorite movie is, Jeremy?
No.
He mentions it at every time that they're talking about Rampage. His favorite movie is Time Cop.
Oh, okay.
He says this at every single show, every time they're in the crossover. My point being, Tony's not afraid to be in front of the crowd. I just don't know if he wants to take up that TV time. I don't know. But also, he didn't need to be a full part of the TV show. He just needed to have some moments. Also, now I'm starting to wonder if Hologram's going to be based on the movie Time Cop. I need to watch the movie, but I'm looking at the rundown, the plot. I'm like, I wonder if he could make it into Time Cop. Tony would do that.
So when it comes to Tony being on television, the point was he didn't have to be on television after this. The point was to write him off of television after this and using Christopher Daniels as sort of a proxy or giving the Young Bucks power after all of this. This was not to use him more as a television person. It was, in fact, the opposite of to kind of take him off of TV and to make it so he doesn't want to appear, because the last time he did appear, Young Bucks kicked the shit out of him. So no, I am just going to kind of relay messages through Christopher Daniels. They just didn't go anywhere with it. The Young Bucks just beat up Christopher Daniels in a backstage segment. And they just won. They used the double-sided coin. It's all right, well, Christopher Daniels, nice knowing you, kind of thing. There was no good follow-up to it. I think the bigger question mark or hesitancy was a heel authority, because we've seen that so many times and it hasn't always worked and people have gotten sick of it. I think they could have done something different here. But that would be, and I'm not saying this is the answer, by the way. I'm saying if we're trying to surmise of why it didn't happen a little bit more, is I think heel authority figures was the more hesitant than Tony Khan being a television character more, because the point of the attack was writing him off as a television character.
Are we waiting with CD for Kenny Omega to come back and take the position and make Kenny Omega the on-screen character, the on-screen authority figure that foils the Bucks? Do you feel like maybe that's something that they could be waiting on?
And they could. I just, obviously, I don't know when Kenny is coming back, but that doesn't excuse anything. That doesn't excuse what's happened in the meantime.
It doesn't, but it would explain some of the refusal to pivot in certain situations.
Sure. Yeah, possibly. But that doesn't make it any better.
Should be Shane McMahon. Shane should just come out and take over for CD.
I'd be for it,
What do you think? Shane at All In or Shane at Y'all In? Which one does he show up for? Texas or Wembley?
I don't think he shows up. He should show up at Wembley. I've already booked his Wembley debut, though.
Go check out that short. It was very good.
Yeah, he should confront Bryan Danielson.
Oh man. Anything else from Dynamite that's worth bringing up that we need to touch on? Mercedes Moné Karashida opened up the show. Solid match between those two. Really just playing into the return of Britt Baker and the debut of Kimmy Sokol under a mask.
Is that who it was? Was it Kimmy?
No.
Oh.
Everyone says that it was.
She took a good beating if it was. She sold really well. That looked like it sucked, honestly.
I'd love to know who it was. For all we know, it was someone who just works backstage.
Yeah.
But either way, DMD comes back, runs through the crowd eventually, puts on the glove eventually, and the lockjaw does not get at it. It does not get put on Mercedes Moné. Who was the decoy? That's the big question.
This post-match wasn't that good.
No, it was not.
I wasn't a fan of this post-match. Yeah. We've talked about Mercedes finisher before and how like it needs to really hit, and she didn't take it well, but there are some just fundamental issues with it that I do think Mercedes is smart enough to try to work around and change. And maybe she is right now because that didn't look great either. And that's one where Sheeta's good enough to where it should have looked better. But the post match was so weird. Of Mercedes turns around and sees Britt, but then like has to turn back around to act like she didn't see her. And then they do the fight, and then Britt is like, "Oh, let me point to the camera before I put this lockjaw." Like, why are you pointing to the camera to do all of this? Like, if you, it was just the dynamic is weird. It's
The
off.
blocking was weird too. The way that they set up the entrance with Britt was strange. So, for those of you who have been to any televised wrestling event, typically the way that it's set up is you have the camera the hard camera in a section that's pointing out to the ring, and then you've got the rampway, of course. Now, there's kind of and I've mentioned this on other shows, but there is another rampway. It's not even a ramp. It's like it's an open area where production and other people can flow freely, and they can run through and do stuff. I've seen like Johnny TV did a Ring of Honor appearance in Ottawa at Collision, where he had to go through the crowd. They had to clear out that area so that he could go through and be all inconspicuous. And he goes around and he goes over the barricade where the timekeeper area is. They slips into the ring. He takes out Dalton Castle. That's part of the promo so that you don't see him make the entrance, and therefore the crowd doesn't pay attention. For some reason, they had Britt come in from where Moxley would normally do his entrance, where it's here's the camera, here's the opposite side of the arena on the where the crowd is. She came in from that side, and they made it apparent that she was coming in through the crowd. I guess because they wanted to denote that suspension's over, I'm back, I'm one of the people, and this is like what you're supposed to think. But it didn't really work well because everything was timed so slowly, and Mercedes had to go there looking like an idiot, and she just had to stand there. Meanwhile, the Tonytron, or whatever you want to call it, the big screen, is showing this stuff, so she can see that Mercedes is probably, or that Britt is making her way to the ring.
Well, it wasn't even that when she was going there. It was Britt was standing on the apron, and Mercedes like turned full around and looked at her,
Yes.
and then turned back around like she didn't see her.
And then Britt had to get her shit in, which was slowly take out the glove.
Yeah.
Slowly put on the glove and then get it. It was very strange. It was just very strange. Yeah, they had her come in. They had her take the most amount of time possible. Because again, the idea was Mercedes wasn't supposed to see her the entire time, but instead they like elongated the whole thing where it made Mercedes look like an idiot, where the only thing she could have looked at to take her mind off of it or take her brain off of Britt coming in was that Camille was beating up this random masked person at ringside. And if they had done this, you know how you save it? This long segment, you take off the mask and you realize that you were not beating up Britt Baker, you're beating up some random decoy. And then you wonder, like, oh, where is she? Where is she? What's going on? What's going on? And that's when Britt's in the ring, putting on the glove and does the lockjaw. Like, it could have been a lot smoother, and it would have made a lot more sense.
As Zeno Hour kind of nails it, is like the moment Camille pulled that fan over the railing and the first kick, Britt should have been attacking Mercedes.
Yep, you could have done that.
That should have been that. She should have had the glove on. She should have been attacking Mercedes. But the other weird one was she had the lockjaw and then she like points to the camera and then she's gonna like kind of shove her hand down Mercedes' throat. It's like, why are we pointing to the camera here? What is, you hate this person so bad and you want to attack this person so bad that you're gonna point to the camera for after taking this long to get in the ring? It was just it's them, it's partially on them, it's partially just on production as a whole. Nobody feels on the same page with that segment on Wednesday. The match was good between Sheeta and Mercedes.
Yep.
The match was very good, but the post stuff, like nobody from top to bottom felt on the same page with that post match segment.
Yeah, it was very strange. Pile Driver saying, I could have done it better is what I'm saying. Well, no, but I could have blocked it better, and I just did while explaining it. Could I have put on the lockjaw? Maybe. Just, No, I'm not going to be very strange. This is it is what it is. I'm looking forward to Baker and Moné. I'm hoping that they give Britt a match on Wednesday, or at least sometime in the next, over the next week and a half, because it feels like they should do something to get that ring rust off.
Yeah, I am a little concerned about that. And I've said, I think I said it on Spotlight the other week, is they should probably get Britt another match just to continue to work back out, because that match with Sheeta was rough. And Sheeta is obviously, she's one of the top females they got in ring. And it's not, fully Britt's fault. She's been gone since September. That was her first match since September. But now she's been off another couple of weeks, and it just happened. You don't have a whole lot of matches. You're gonna lose it a little bit. So you need to kind of stay active to keep everything sort of flowing. And this would be Britt's second match since September, almost a year. And it's a big time stadium match on top of that. This isn't just like go out there and, we're just going, which episode of Dynamite looks fine. Like, it's a big stadium match. If it doesn't go well, if it starts to fall apart, like it's tough to get that crowd back and everything. Mercedes is very good. So I think Mercedes can lead it fairly well and do what she needs to do to keep things together. But they've been a little bit on separate pages. They've been a little bit on separate pages just in the build to this. So I don't know how it's going to look match wise if they're also on a separate page. I'm a little concerned about this match.
I agree. I hope that they pull out something that really, proves everybody wrong. But yeah, it's a little tough. This for a lot of people, it's a dream match, especially in the story and the history of AEW and the story of Mercedes as well. There's a lot of opportunity here, but this has the potential to not be the best in-ring work between these two. Maybe the chemistry isn't there, or maybe it is. Maybe they touch and it's wildly amazing and everyone's going to have a great time. But yeah, this is a big match. People are talking more about the Watanabe match at Capital Collision at this point, especially because that's going to be the main event.
Yeah, that's going to be really good.
Yeah, they've announced that Mercedes Moné, Rocky Romero called it the main event today. Is going to be the openweight, the New Japan Pro Wrestling Women's Strong Openweight Championship. It's a very long name. Mercedes is going to defend against Momo Watanabe, and that's going to be the main event at Capital Collision in Washington, D.C. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to Washington?
No.
Mr. Lambert goes to Washington?
No, that's a busy weekend. There's Capital Collision, TNA's that night, Bash in Berlin's the following afternoon. A busy weekend.
It's going to be a very busy weekend. Speaking of TNA, they announced it's going to be an hour-long Iron Man match between Josh Alexander and Nick Nemeth for the TNA World Championship. There you go. Get your 1 hour Iron Man match ready, along with Ultimate X. It's going to be a fun emergence show on that Friday night.
Warner Brothers Discovery hands cable TV business to top studio executive.
I was just reading about that. That was from the
Wall Street Journal.
It was Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal. Yeah. Don't know what this means for, AEW. And
it means wrestling's dead. It's over. I'm sorry.
Channing Dungey is the new is going to oversee the Warner Brothers Discovery cable networks now, which obviously includes TNT, TBS. I hope she's a wrestling fan.
It's Bonnie Hamer all over again, isn't it? Oh man, yeah. Brandon Thurston retweeted and said, "I've been trying to reach Jim Barnett all morning to ask if Channing Dungey hates wrestling, but Jim's not picking up."
Yeah. Hope she's a wrestling fan.
Let's take a look. Yeah, hope she's a wrestling fan.
It doesn't say anything about likes and stuff. Is she on Twitter?
Channing Dungey? Dungy?
Yeah. Dungey. I'm pretty sure it's Dungey.
But she's going to take over because Kathleen Finch is going to be retiring at the end of 2024. So that's how that came around. This isn't a sale thing. I've got Channers 3. Yeah, that's it.
Is it?
Yeah, she hasn't tweeted since 2016.
Oh, but it's her?
I'm almost certain that that's her. A TV junkie who somehow scored a backstage pass.
Yeah, but hasn't scored since 2016. That's tough. Yeah, she's not tagged. I see that Warner Brothers TV tweeted about her in 2023, but didn't tag her, so can't piggyback.
Instagram is CD Flicks.
Okay. Has she messaged anytime soon on Instagram?
Probably.
Okay.
And check. So definitely the first thing that came up.
All right. Well, again, hopefully, she likes wrestling. It's always
hopefully is right. Here we go. The latest photo is her from 3 weeks ago. I haven't been great about social media lately, wrangling a lot of other stuff, but this is too important of a moment not to make clear where I stand. And it's a photo of her with Kamala Harris. That's her most recent photo on Instagram. It's her giving her endorsement. That would be fantastic. That is the monkey's paw. She is, she's very, very popular.
all right.
Anyway, social media. Start forming your parasocial relationships now. Anyway, where were we? I completely forgot where we were. Was it important? Probably not.
We were talking about Dynamite.
Oh, so it wasn't.
Wow.
I mean, listen, they did a bunch of backstage promos. We talked about a lot of good stuff that happened on Dynamite. I just have nothing else. Yeah, this is where I stand. It's a photo of her with CM Punk. I gotta Photoshop that in now. That's gonna be upsetting. And then it's a photo of her with Jen Pepperman. Because TV people. I should find out if they work together on a show. That's the one. Pepperman and Dungy. Maybe that's the answer.
Yeah, maybe Jen Pepperman is the savior that we all needed.
She's the voice of the voiceless. She's the straight edge superstar that we all needed.
Seems like Jen Pepperman's doing good work. Good on her.
Yeah, the interview that she did with AEW Unrestricted was a nice little profile piece. Soap opera started there. I'm not surprised, but that's good. Someone saying Lexington to Denver flight is about 4 hours that weekend. Well, talking about the TNA stuff. This is I gave my thoughts on the TNA post show. Go watch that. Me and Cresta broke down what might a Iron Man match between Josh Alexander and Nick Nemeth, how that might end and how that might affect a certain NXT No Mercy main event if it goes the way that we think it might. How about that?
How do you think that Josh Alexander and Nick Nemeth is going to go?
I have a theory that Josh is going to win the world title in that Iron Man match. I have a feeling that he's going to be the TNA World Champion, and that will be how he arrives in NXT for a cup of coffee. And that he costs Joe Hendry his NXT title shot or his NXT title match. Hendry and Alexander have unfinished business. All Ego Ethan Page and Josh Alexander have a history. Could be a North reunion. Could just be two guys on top working together as champions of their brands. Look at us, huh? Look at us. And that could be the beginning of Joe Hendry's ascent to the TNA World title after getting screwed out of the NXT World Championship. And it's the same weekend. It's a couple days apart between No Mercy and Emergence. So the timing actually lines up a little bit better because TNA will actually have a live show going into a live NXT PLE. So it could work. Joe Hendry could win the match on Tuesday, get himself that number one contendership. Wentz is going to cost Wesley in the triple threat. Trick could face Pete Dunne once again. Trick could come out and take out Pete Dunne. That leaves Hendry without any ops to take out, and then have Josh Alexander be the guy to cost him the match at No Mercy. Could be it.
Okay.
That's where I could see it going. And also, again, going back to Fightful Select, we did report not too long ago that Josh Alexander was penciled in to win the TNA World Championship at Slammiversary, and then the stuff with Joe Hendry caused the change, and we were off to the races there. Nick Nemeth won. So I could see it just being a quick spot for Nemeth. Or he wins.
I think
the shit.
Yeah. I think your idea makes sense. And I think that would probably be the smart thing to do, because I do think you got to capitalize on this Joe Hendry stuff, and having the title on the guy who cost him, Josh Alexander, cost him in some ways. Like, it was a move in a wrestling match. He beat him. Like, that's the way to go. And Nick Nemeth is, I don't know if that's a long-term champion there. Maybe it is, but Joe Hendry feels like the play. And like I said before, Slammiversary, at some point you got to strike on this stuff before. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but you got to strike on this stuff before NXT is like, we don't need this guy around as much anymore. And then Joe Hendry's just back in TNA, and like, it's fine, but you're not getting that national spot that you were getting when he was appearing on NXT every week. It doesn't seem like he's going to be leaving NXT anytime soon. He seems to be doing well, but you never know how things change in wrestling business. A month from now, Shawn Michaels could wake up and just be like, Joe Hendry is cool, but like, we got to focus on our guys now. Or, maybe we want to bring back Jordan Grace. That she was actually doing the real big business for us. We want her back instead of Joe Hendry. You never know how this stuff is just going to change. So you got to strike while it's there.
Triple Mania is this weekend, or it's this weekend, right?
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. He's got a match as Nick Nemeth. His Mega Campeon is the Mega Campeon.
We're not going to speak about that match.
We're not, but I'm just going to leave it at if he drops that title tonight, I could see it being the beginning of him dropping other titles in other companies.
Is it tonight?
It's either tonight or it's tomorrow. It's definitely this weekend.
All right.
Triple Mania has the weird thing of being sometimes on a Friday or whatever.
It's like a 3-day event as well.
Yeah,
by 3 days, I mean like not in succession, but there's like 3 Triple Manias is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm trying to find anything here. No, that's April. What are we doing here? What is this? This is the Triple Mania Twitter account. That's awful.
It's the 17th. It's tomorrow.
Okay, it's tomorrow, so it's Saturday.
Yeah.
Where's Luis when you need him? Give us all of our information. Anyway, we'll see. Listen, this is the one time where I want Nick Nemeth to win a title match this Saturday. But other than that, if he drops that title, then could be the beginning of dominoes falling for Nick Nemeth. Maybe Nemeth is maybe he's going to AEW. Maybe Nick Nemeth is going to show up at Wembley.
No, I don't think so.
Well, maybe not Wembley, but maybe he's going to show up at Texas at Y'all in 2025. He's going to take the next year off just because.
Hey, bless. If he's got the money and the means to do it, bless him.
It'll be very good. Anyway, that's all I got from Dynamite. There was a lot to cover, but shifting focus, we got SmackDown tonight. Is there anything else from AEW you wanna pick at before we move over?
I don't think so.
Yeah, just checking. Oh, Jesus Christ, Hook. Hook's wearing an eye patch again. Yeah. All Eye Patches Wrestling is back. Shout out to Zach from from Love Wrestling, who updated the graphic. All Eye Patches Wrestling is back, and Hook has a match with Jericho.
Sure. There'll be a bunch of run-ins and stuff. Like it'll be all right. And I saw somebody make the point today, and like it's true. The Jericho stuff isn't fully for us. Like it's not. But like,
who is it for?
There's a fan base for it, man. There's a fan base for it.
Who are they? Let yourselves be known. Commenters, if you're here, are you here for Learning Tree?
Like, they're facing Chris Jericho at Wembley is a big deal. I know like we don't feel like it might be, but like it is. It's a big spot for Hook. And so this hopefully he shows up, shows out, and wins, and then that's
Just let it end. That's all.
Well,
Just let this be the end. I love it. Jericho's like, you can escape the Jericho vortex if you beat me. It's like, Jesus Christ.
yeah, this is the issue we've talked about before. Is like you can't do but so many meta like stories like this, like because then you lose something in doing so many of them. And Jericho is very clearly doing it, and the Young Bucks are doing it, and these are your top two basically heel acts. Is they're just doing some meta stuff, so everyone's just like like at some point you got to have a serious, and this is where Swerve does a great job, and Hangman is doing what he needs to do, but you got to have some seriousness in there, and when your top two like really clear heels, because Hangman, he thinks he's a babyface and like you can justify his actions. Swerve still gets big reactions and you can justify his actions. These guys they're trying to be heels, but they're trying to be wink and nod heels, and doing it so much is a little much.
Yeah. I really have much to add.
Because they lay it on thick too. It ain't like a subtle type of thing, like it's very thick what they're doing.
It is. And I don't need thick. I need thick in my wrestling matches, but not in my wrestling gimmicks. How's that? Does that work for you? That should be it. That's the takeaway right there. Thick wrestling people.
Joel likes it thick.
I like thick wrestlers, not thick. Well, I don't like thick wrestlers. And there are plenty of those, let me tell you. I'm knocking my brain for the audio listeners.
What?
Thick. You know what I mean by thick in the brain? You know what I mean by that? I mean, they're dumb. I mean, they're fucking idiots.
Wow. Who are you talking about?
That was 2 hours ago. I was going to air my grievances, but now we're over that. I'm not airing my grievances anymore about wrestling.
Okay.
The thick but not deep. This is it. That's what you want. You want thick but not deep. The meat has to be on the bone, not in the brain. Anyway.
Okay.
That's all I got for that. I was going to bring up something. Oh, Chad had started talking about the newsletter stuff about Phoenix. The potential of AEW adding injury time to the Phoenix deal. I'll get your take on it. I mean, this isn't something that we've reported on Fightful Select, so that's kind of why we don't touch on it too much. But if Chad wants to talk about it, we can give a quick point on it. If you want to
I have two takes. One, the Mariah May video package was really great on Dynamite. That's the biggest women's match to me. It's honestly the second biggest match to me at All In, behind Swerve and Danielson, and they've done a very good job. They lost it a little bit. I know people weren't happy with like Mariah's explanation and everything. Like, that was okay, but they've done a very good job of. Obviously, the big turn was great and it got a lot of heat. You have to naturally, things are going to cool because there's so much time, and now they're getting the trajectory back up. And I think they're going to really hit it out of the park next week in Cardiff. And I think it's going to be good stuff. And I think people should rightfully be very excited for that match. So that's one take. My second take is, do not report about somebody's passing before the family says something. It is okay to not be first, especially about something like that. That's my take.
And I have nothing to add. Those takes are 100%. I will add to the Mariah May thing, though.
Oh, speak, bitch. Come on now.
Jesus. When did this get added?
I just added it while you were talking because I've had it on my memes folder forever.
You guys got like memes folders. That's like, I don't get it.
I don't go as deep as our boss does.
Yeah.
That's a different segment for another time.
You're thicker though.
Yeah, I'm thicker. I don't get as deep, but I get thick. That's just how that goes. Yeah, the Mariah May stuff was really good. I do agree, and I love that they brought back Mina Shirakawa for this whole stuff. She is very sad, but she's also got a championship match for the Rev Pro Women's Championship the same weekend as All In. She's going to be facing Dani Luna That's been announced. So she's going to be in the UK as Mina, which means that the opportunity for her to be involved in the match at All In is quite high, which I enjoy, because why would you bring her in for a backstage promo where she gives her thoughts on the match without having her getting involved in the match itself in some way, shape, or form? I love it. Big fan of that. So it's good.
Sad Shirakawa.
Sad Mina.
Mina
Is that a meme we can start?
Sadakawa.
Sadakawa?
Yeah, Sadakawa.
Oh, Shirasada. Anyway, yeah.
Mina Shirakawa rules. I'm glad they brought that back around. They got her back, and yeah, they'll get her involved in some way. One thing I don't want, though, is I don't want this to be almost a rehash of what it was with Mina and Tony, where they were sort of vying for Tony's love. I don't want it to be, or Mariah's love, sorry. I don't want it to be Tony and Mariah like, oh, I want to cheer up Mina, everything's fine. Like, don't do that. Like, use Mina as a figure in the story. Use her as fodder in the story. Do not use her as a focal point, because the focal point is Mariah and Tony Storm and the jealousy and the revenge and the making my own way and the title. Mina is there. She's part of it, but it shouldn't be like, oh, Mina, I just want to cheer you up. Everything's good. Like, don't do any of that.
Do you have Mina versus the winner of the Women's World Championship match at All Out at that point?
If it's Mariah May.
I'm just assuming it's Mariah.
Yeah, if it's Mariah May, yes. I'd probably do that, because I would have Mariah, like, I do think Mina will probably be part of the match as far as just like kind of being at ringside, and then Mariah will win and probably still be super vicious. I don't need Mina getting involved in any way. And this is what I mean of not being central. She can be there. She could be ringside. She can like want both women to do well. I just want both women to win type of thing. She can be sad. She could be shocked and all this stuff, but not actually get involved in the match. Mariah beats Tony, continues to maybe even attacks her after the match, and is just like, you brought this upon yourself. And then Mina just comes in and kind of shoves Mariah away. And then Mariah leaves, continues to celebrate. Mina's continues to be sad. And that's how you kind of thread to All Out.
Yeah, I'd be good with that. I would like to see that. But she's here, and that's good. We'll see her at All In. I'm sure she'll give her a match in Wales for Dynamite. Why not? I wouldn't mind seeing Mina get a match in Wales. Tony Storm will have a match in Wales, maybe. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, now you're asking for about 3 women's matches, because we want Britt to have a match as well. And I got news for you.
Well, maybe it's Ladies' Night in Wales on Dynamite. Also, they're doing are they doing Rampage and Collision, or just Collision?
I don't know if they're doing Collision.
Oh, no, they're not doing Collision. Yeah. I think it's just Rampage, because they're doing the show. It's Saturday afternoon, so I don't think Collision's a part of it.
Yeah, I think there's no Collision next week.
Okay. I mean, listen, they have a major event. It would make sense.
Okay, no, they're taping Collision apparently in Cardiff. Collision. So they're not doing Rampage, I guess.
Or they're going to do the Rampage. I don't know. Oh, no, they're taping Rampage in Arlington this Saturday.
Oh, okay.
They're doing Collision and Rampage. So Rampage they're taping for next week.
That's going to be confusing, hilarious of television, of like, we're in Cardiff for Dynamite. Now we're in Arlington for Rampage, and we're back in Cardiff for Collision.
Hey, man, that's the hardworking stars of AEW. Just for you. They're going back and forth.
A lot of traveling here.
Yeah, they're not going to be doing it. So Rampage is going to be okay. So yeah, they're doing Arlington this Saturday for the last Collision of the Texas residency. Then they're in Cardiff for Dynamite. And then Rampage will have been taped this Saturday in Arlington to air next Friday. And then Cardiff also gets Collision. It's taped on Saturday. Yes. And London is All In London is Saturday. Yeah, that's good. That's fun. Listen, it all makes sense,
No,
but it
All
also
Ins on
makes
Sunday.
sense.
All Ins on Sunday, not Saturday.
No, oh, sorry, that's the celebration. You're right. All In's on Sunday. I'm looking at AEW's event calendar. And it says All In celebration. I was like, 11 a.m. Yeah, you're right. All In's on Sunday. Yeah, so there you go. It's all there. Yeah, they're doing the Hogan time travel schedule.
Dude, they should 100% do, like, they'll obviously have taped Rampage. They gotta have somebody on all 3 shows. I don't know who it is, but like they gotta have somebody. Maybe Cesaro, Claudio. Sorry, Claudio's got the match against Okada. So like Claudio does the match against Okada on Wednesday. He's taped his match for Rampage. Hologram's a good shout. That might be. I don't know if Hologram's traveling or not. But they got to have somebody who is on like all 3 of these. So it looks like they traveled from Wales to Arlington to back to Wales in the span of 4 days. They got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. I don't know who it's going to be. Orange Cassidy's probably an easy one to do.
Hologram. Hologram is the guy.
They got to do this. They got to.
Time Cop.
That's Tony's favorite movie, according to you. So
it's not just according to me. If you go to any AEW show,
I've been to AEW shows.
You weren't paying attention to the crossover. Yeah, the crossover is when he talks about Time Cop.
Tony comes out, and I'm just like, "Hey, Tony, let's go. Let's fucking go, Tony."
Listen, he's got our pal Chris up in a tizzy because Chris is saying that, they still owe Detroit a pay-per-view from Blood and Guts 2022 when Tony came out and said, maybe we'll give you a pay-per-view. And then everyone got really excited.
And Tony probably says they're going to a pay-per-view everywhere.
Oh, he does. He did it in Toronto. He does it everywhere. Yeah. I can tell you that for sure. It's just part of the gimmick. It should be Hologram that does the back and forth. Should just be it. Got a super chat from Delayed Gratz saying, did Arlington give AEW incentives for All In 2025? I mean, they definitely have incentives from the residency they just did. This was all part of a larger booking, a larger program that they were putting in. The residency played into the booking for All In 2025. It was all part of this thing. And Koshe Irby, again, if you go and check FightfulSelect.com, we do have a whole write-up about how this stuff with All In came together for Texas. And this was kind of the start of it, was doing the residency. And, Delay Gratz, I saw your comment earlier about saying, can we admit the Texas residency was a success after some were saying low ticket sales would be bad, basically. And I don't think you and I said that it was going to be a bad thing. I think you and I kind of praised the idea of running a different venue for especially Texas, and just doing something different. And it worked out very well for AEW doing this Collision residency.
Yeah, I think the only thing we commented about that is, how do you keep the audience coming back, and would they be able to do that? And so far they did. And then we did talk about maybe them doing residencies elsewhere. Would that be beneficial? And we had a conversation of, well, you got to look at the optics of the optics of like, can you do it? How long can you do it? Is there other stuff that's going to be run? Like things worked out well with the esports arena. Can you find that elsewhere? I don't know. That's just, I have no idea. They found a good home with the esports arena, and good on them. And it's worked out. And yeah, they've always enjoyed running that Texas area. Like they just have, they did they've done Winter's Coming there for the past few years. They do ROH shows there. I mean, outside of Chicago, I feel like Texas is, I realize I compared a city to a state. Outside of Illinois, I think Texas is probably their second most run state, I would imagine. Florida, obviously, you count the pandemic. They ran that for, a year and a half. But
didn't they have a whole few months where it felt like every other week they were going back to Texas, or yeah. And they even talked about it on TV as Excalibur was giving the dates, and someone just said, God, that's a lot of Texas. I think JR was like, that's a lot of time in Texas.
I mean, this isn't a surefire way of doing this, but if I look up on Cage Match, very useful website. Don't look at comments or ratings or anything like that. So Illinois, it doesn't number the shows. They got a lot of shows in Illinois though. And this is not, again, it's not surefire because they combine Dark, and that counts as separate shows and everything. And yeah, they don't fully number it, but there's a number of Illinois shows, and Texas is there's 51 Illinois shows. There's 63 Texas shows. It's not, again, the foolproof way because it lists out like Rampage and Dynamite separately, and then Dark Elevation is separately. Obviously, that's all one show, so it's counted separate by Cage Match, but it gives you an idea of how many television shows have aired from Texas compared to Illinois. So Texas actually has Illinois beat in that sense.
And Sean pointing out in the chat that they went after COVID, they were in Texas a lot because that was one of the first states that they could go to as states started opening up with pandemic restrictions being lifted. So that's also worth mentioning. But hey, Texas has been a hot market for AEW. They've obviously enjoyed the residency, and they're going. That's another reason why doing All In, or Y'all In as we're calling it in 2025, is a good idea, because not only will you have the local fans coming through, but also it's an easy place to get to. It's not terribly expensive, and hopefully near the venue. I haven't looked personally because I'm not going, but there will be places to stay, and that's the best part. You got a ballpark. You got to have places to stay. I'm sure they do. So it's not like this place just opened up last week and they're, scrambling to open up all the hotels and Airbnbs and all that. No, there will be places, there will be accommodations, and I'm sure people will go and have a good time. That's kind of the benefit of doing a show like this in Texas. They're a proven market for AEW.
Yeah, like they don't run places that they don't have success in multiple times
anymore.
like this.
Not anymore. They learned their lesson. That's one of the things that having a competent COO is good for. Ali Khan sent a super chat saying, predict the attendance number for All In 2024. WrestleTix, as of August 8th, has the current setup at 51,314 with 45,158 tickets distributed. In 8 days prior, they had sold 512 tickets. As they get closer, I feel like they're going to break 50,000.
Yeah.
If they don't, then something will have gone incredibly wrong, and that would suck. And again, do not sit here and say, oh, last year they did. I don't care what they did last year at this point. You said 2024 in your message. You said 2024 in your message,
yeah,
Ali.
your message does read 2024. So
Ali, what are we doing here? Anyway, we'll give you. I can give you both, or we can give you both. For this year, I think they'll definitely do over. It's all good. They'll definitely do over 50,000. Don't see a reason why they wouldn't. And again, I'm not going to compare it to last year's number. Last year was the first year they were doing this. It was a huge event. You could make the argument, we should be able to do it both years. Well, no, you don't necessarily have to. 50,000 is still a huge accomplishment for this event. So looking forward to over 50,000 at the event. Jeremy, you're taking your numbers.
I don't think they had any grand illusions that they would do 80,000 again. I truly believe that. I don't think they thought, oh, we're going to do 80,000 back-to-back years. That, again, there's just going to be diminishing returns on basically anything you do. And if you're running the same venue 2 straight years, you're probably going to get a lesser return the following year, especially when the first year is first time going over there. Like that, everyone is going to that event because it is a landmark, monumental event. This year, you're going back. I think they'll do about 50,000, and I think that'll be good. I don't think. Look, I'm not gonna knock a company doing 50,000 at a show and be like, oh, they're dead. They clearly, if they're drawing 50,000 fans to a stadium show, they ain't close to dead. Okay.
Yeah, but it's not 80,000.
It's so dumb.
It's
so dumb. So I think they'll do probably about 50,000. If you want an exact attendance number, I'll throw something out there. 50,319. That's my number. There you go.
Okay. And then because they meant to say 2025, I will give them 2025 as they go to Globe Life Stadium for 2025 for Y'all In. What's the number? The venue seems to be able to hold at least 40,000 for baseball. You'll tarp off some, but you'll make up for it with floor seating / field seating. What's the number? Is it 40,000? Is it 45,000? Is it less than that? I see it as a potential to sell out. I do. It's the first time that they're doing a major stadium show. You can make the argument that Grand Slam is like a stadium show, but it's not. It's different. This is their first big.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's also 20,000 more seats in this building.
Yes, there are. I mean, doesn't the Tacoma Dome also have 40,000 seats?
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. I'm going to double check. But
Okay.
regardless, I could see them selling out for this one. Tacoma Dome has, it's 21,000. I thought it was bigger. Maybe because they called it a dome. Anyway, 45,000 I could see. People saying 43K for Yallin. Sure.
I think it'll be over 40,000. I think it'll be their American record without a doubt, because I think the closest would be Grand Slam. And again, this has 20,000 more seats on that. And the fact that they're marketing this and like their WrestleMania, it's a big travel destination event that is what it should be. Like, that's what they should be doing with this. I know people don't like fully like this, but when TKO talks about they want to festivalize their events and everything, like that works. That's what people go to these events for. It's like, yeah, they want to go to wrestling, but like, you make it a whole week long or multiple day celebration. Like that adds to the ambiance, the grandeur of these type of events. If it's just like a single one-off event, like, okay, it's cool to go there, hang out with your friends and stuff, but like putting stuff around it. And AEW's done that in some cases, like StarCast. Like they've made it a more than just like an AEW event. But it's been a little while since they've done that. Like they stopped doing the fan fest kind of thing. Jason mentioned SummerSlam. You also have several indie events as well. It's a huge part of it. I wouldn't be shocked to see some indies be running in Texas and things like that. I think you'll probably see that. And that's what it's more than just one event that draws people in. It is, hey, get together with a bunch of wrestling fans, like a big celebration type of thing. And they've done a good job. Yeah, I talked about it at the top of the show. That's my biggest takeaway of announcing All In a year out in a stadium is you have told your audience, this is our biggest show. This is our WrestleMania. This is the show you want to come to. And good. They should be doing stuff like that. So I'll say over 40,000. Again, exact number 40, because they'll change it up. They'll obviously put seats on like the field and everything like that you mentioned. And the what's it hold now, like just as a baseball stadium?
I think I saw 40,000 was the cap for the Globe Life Stadium.
40,300. The record this was for a Morgan Wallen concert, 43,598. This is according to Wikipedia, the factual information about everything. They might top that depending on how they set it up. That'd be
a cool little feather in their cap if they get to say that too. The indoor attendance record at Globe Life Stadium all time.
Yeah, they might be able to top that of 43 again, depending on the setup. They gotta get a little bit hotter. Because travel destination, making it a big time show like this is only gonna get you so far. Sometimes you still got to have obviously the matches, because All In isn't a brand like obviously WrestleMania is a brand. And I'm also not going to rule out that WWE is going to run some big pay-per-view 2 weeks before this show to try to cut into the market. I'm sorry. They're going to run John Cena's last match in Texas, the week before this, and make everybody spend their money on that. So I think they can come close to 43.
We don't have a SummerSlam location yet.
SummerSlam, I did see people talk about like, they might do SummerSlam next year in London because the AEW is not going to be there. Yeah. But yeah, we don't have a SummerSlam location. I don't know if Texas is going to be in the bidding war. For SummerSlam. Morgan Wallen, sorry.
I love that Kim did that. I thought it was Waylon too, but I guess wow. Is it because Triple H? There's 3 H's here. What are we doing?
I could not tell you a Morgan Wallen song if you asked me. Like if I had to bet on it, I would be broke. I'd be done.
That's the Wallen brother. That's Morgan the Wall brother.
They're going Wall in. Maybe they should have Morgan Wall in for All In.
That's perfect. Yeah. You want the indoor attendance record holder versus the indoor attendance record new setter? That's how you do it. You bring her all in. Have him
perform. Yeah,
we're all in for Wall in. Let people know. Tag her on the internet. Tell her that the wrestling fans are all in for Wall in.
He threw a chair at some dude at his bar in Nashville. He doesn't seem like a nice guy.
Who is this?
Morgan Wallen, I guess.
I thought Morgan was a woman. I thought it was a woman's name. I've met men named Morgan, but okay, sure. My bad.
Wait, it's a guy, isn't it?
Yeah, Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, I knew it was a guy. I knew that much.
I assume country artist because I am Canadian and this is Texas.
No, I knew it was a guy. I didn't mispronounce that.
No, I was the one who misgendered this person. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, we're all in for Morgan Wallen. Just don't leave out the part where we thought Morgan was a woman. I'm sorry.
What if I'm gonna listen to a Morgan Wallen song here?
Have fun with that. I'm looking at the hotels. There are plenty nearby within a 30-minute walking distance, and they start at currently $70 a night. And also,
all right, chat.
If you're going, I'm just gonna say this right now. Go check out the Museum of Art in Arlington. Okay? Go check out the Museum of Art. The Arlington Museum of Art is close to Globe Life Field. Go look at it.
All right, chat. What Morgan Wallen song should we listen to?
You know what? Maybe we shouldn't, because people are pointing out things about Morgan Wallen that I don't think I want to be associated with at all. Okay.
I bet my mom's listened to a lot of Morgan Wallen. Hold on.
Wow, this is awful. Mother. What are we doing? We are discovering things that I do not want to discover. We are no longer all in for Wallen. We are now all out. No, we're not. We're not doing it, is what I'm saying. We're not.
Should I call my mom and ask her what Morgan Wallen she listens to?
I mean, you could, but I don't really want to be associated with Morgan Wallen anymore.
Oh, he's a racist? This doesn't seem good.
That seems to be what people are saying. Pivot.
All right.
Yep, we're done with Morgan Wallen talk. I'm sorry. Didn't know. That's my bad. That's our mistake. The hotels. Go stay near one of those. Go stay near one of the nice hotels. Yeah, the message I got from REP just said, don't listen to country ever, and they're right.
Nah, Garth Brooks bangs. We're not going to sit here and disparage Garth Brooks.
Standing outside the fire.
I think Garth Brooks should play at All In. That big belt buckle? Oh, I thought Garth Brooks playing rodeo? Let's go. That's what we need right there.
All right. We did get a shout out from... Okay, hold on. Let's go. Delay Grad sends a super chat saying, Jeremy, you deserve a free lunch for that fact. WWE might run All Left 2 weeks before All In 2025. They'll call it All Out.
Please do not report that we are big Morgan Wallen fans. I don't know any.
Jesus.
I don't know any songs by this dude. I've never heard. I mean, I've heard of him. I have heard of him because, again, I'm pretty sure my mom listens to him, and I may have accidentally listened to a song, but I couldn't tell you what song it actually
is. My shit, not at all. MJF will come out with Morgan Wallen, I'm sure. Ollie Khan sent a super chat saying, would AEW get hot after the new TV deal is signed? I think people make a big deal out of something that is just, you know what the big TV deal is to most fans? We're staying on TV. I don't think any fans are really saying that AEW is not going to be on TV after whatever. This deal doesn't mean anything to a wrestling fan. This TV deal means to a wrestling fan, all it should mean is that they still get to watch their TV. They still get to watch their AEW on TV. To other fans, it's just anyone who's just it's a big deal. It's a lot of money. And it's well, okay, sure. You shouldn't care about the money. You're not pocket watching this company. Just be happy that your TV show is still going to be on television. That's all. They ain't going to cancel them. You'd know if they were getting canceled. We'll leave it like that.
It's a big deal to a perpetually online community who seemingly live and die on how much AEW does or doesn't get. It is a big deal. Redmond Survivor's right. Like, if the library is on Max, if it changes like how you watch like pay-per-views, and that becomes like, that stuff is kind of a big deal. It's not a big deal to me anyway, of like, all right, we signed an extension with TBS. Okay, cool. Like, as long as the show is existing and airing and accessible, that's all I really care about.
Yeah, that's it. Get Taylor Swift to do All In 2025. Y'all in.
Well, she's going to be at Wembley this week. So
that's right.
Morgan Wallen's on trial and is facing up to 6 years in prison.
Can we retcon the last 5 minutes of conversation?
Look, all right. AEW.
Break the attendance record, please, for the love of God. Break that attendance record.
That's all we need. You've got lie about. I don't give a fuck. Lie if you got to. Give away the tickets. Give away the comps. Whatever you got to do. We gotta not have this man have this attendance record at Globe Life. Okay, we can't have it anymore. You got one job, AEW. You got a year to figure out how to get over 43,593 fans in this building, so Morgan Wallen no longer has this attendance record. That's it. That's all you have to do. And if you do that, no matter what else you do in life, no matter what else you do as a professional wrestling company, you have done a service to the world, which is bigger than pro wrestling.
I can't even say the thing I was going to say anymore. Oh, go buy tickets for All In 2025 for that reason and that reason.
Tony's just got to buy them all himself. I don't care at this point. We can't have Morgan Wallen be the man who the record holder. We can't do it.
Nope, can't.
We can't.
Nope.
Again, whatever WrestleTix reports, Tony's got to be like, yeah, we're doing more than that. Tony's got to buy them himself if he needs to. Get the whole Jaguars team. It'll be in the summer. However it happens, bring them all there. Bring all the draft picks that you make. Bring future. Bring the whole Texas football team, Texas baseball team, Texas basketball team. Bring the Cowboys. Bring the Rangers. Other teams are in Texas. Bring the Stars. Bring them all. We got to beat this dude.
And their families. Bring their families too.
Whatever you got to do. Whatever you have to do, Tony.
Now we're all in to beat Wallen. That's what it is. That's the new campaign slogan.
Say it again so I can cut it up well as a short, because I think I cut it off. I think I cut you off for a second. Okay, go.
The new slogan is all in to beat Wallen. That's what we're doing for All In 2025.
However we got to do it. We have to. That's all we have to do.
Sorry, this is very funny. Very angrily. Oh God, as we start to wind down and get on out of here.
Yeah, bring in Luca and Kyrie. Bring them all. Luca's got family. Kyrie's got family. SP3's Kyrie's family. Bring all the Dallas Mavericks. I don't care how you got to do it.
Bring Mark Cuban and just tell him there's a barbecue and some free drugs. He'll be there.
Oh.
Not he. You know, I'm not saying Mark Cuban's whatever. You get what I'm saying. Cheap drugs.
Tell Cuban you can film some Shark Tank episode, whatever. Bring in all the people who want to pitch Shark Tank on Cuban. I don't care.
You know, at Chase Field, they have a hot tub in the venue. Did you know this? They have a pool, they have that. Yeah,
I probably did because I played baseball games, but I didn't realize.
If they have one at Globe Life, you and I will go and conduct our interviews in there. I don't think they do, but if they had a hot tub, if wrestling ever had an event at a venue that included a hot tub, you and I would do our interviews there. That would be the thing to bring me back. That would be it. Hot tubs.
Whatever gets Morgan Wallen to not have this record.
We're gonna bring the hot tub ourselves. We're gonna do it. Hot tub time cop. That's it. That's the answer. We don't need no hot tub time machine. We got hot tub time cop. Hologram.
Get Jerry, whatever he's got to do to help fill this thing. However, we got to do it.
Which Jerry? There are lots of them.
Jerry Jones.
Right. Not Jerry only from the Misfits.
I don't know who that is.
Anyway, SmackDown's tonight.
There's more than one Jerry. Names have more than one Jerry.
Don't believe that. SmackDown is live from Orlando, Florida tonight.
Who's coughing?
Oh, that
is your
was
wife
my wife.
Okay?
No, she hasn't been for a long time.
Okay. Well, fair.
She's married to me. Roman Reigns is appearing.
Hell yeah.
Roman, put up your ones. Thank you. Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes in match number 3 of 5 or maybe 7, depending who you ask.
Tony, sorry. Triple H got a penalty in TEW for booking this match too many times in close quarters.
Well, unfortunately,
5% reaction penalty for Triple H.
Grayson Waller takes on Kevin Owens, and I'm sure what will be the breakup of A-Town Down Under if we're lucky. Blair Davenport takes on Naomi. I'm sure that won't devolve into a 6-woman match that gets announced for Berlin. The tag titles are on the line. Or no, they're not. It's a number 1 contendership match for the WWE tag team titles. It's the Street Profits versus DIY. Does this break down and become a triple threat match at Bash in Berlin as well? Is it the triple threat bash? Is that what we're doing?
I don't think so. I think we're gonna get a clean way here.
And then GOD come out and destroy whoever wins?
I don't know about destroy. Because I mean, if Jacob ain't there, then like. So I was having this discussion with the wife, and it was a big discussion online because of Matt Riddle and his past comments of who would win Matt Riddle said about Roman Reigns, he would beat up Roman Reigns in a real fight. Everything. I was like, yeah, probably. Like Matt Riddle's trained. I'm not going to disparage the man who's trained MMA fighter and like was pretty successful in the UFC, all things considered. And Roman, like he's Samoan, so like you just at the very least you know how to scrap. But I think Riddle probably beats him. You know who would fuck up Matt Riddle though? Tonga Loa, because Tonga Loa like doesn't exactly know any better, and like they always say the most dangerous people in a fight are the people who know everything and like are well trained, and the people who like are like first day who just go in there are just gonna go out do the dumbest shit ever and just completely catch you off guard on this. Tonga Loa against Matt Riddle, that's the match right there.
Do the big slaps. Yeah.
What we're talking about?
The DIY versus Street Profits number 1 contendership match.
That'd be a good match. Good match.
And then whether or not the Bloodline will come in and take out the winners of that match.
They might.
Yeah, could happen.
Roman comes out. He's gonna be like, "The hell y'all doing?"
And then finally, potentially going to happen because it didn't happen last week, the Nia Jax WWE Women's Championship celebration. Remember that when that was going to happen last week and then it didn't?
I think that was like prematurely announced.
Seems like it. Certainly feels that way. But regardless, it's supposed to happen tonight. I'm sure Tiffany Stratton will be there and it'll be a fun time. But that's SmackDown for tonight. Looks like it'll be a show. It'll be a show.
There. Roman's back. He's around. The top babyface in the company. Oh, Cody's whatever. The big dog, the big draw is back. That's what matters.
Yeah, when do you think Roman comes out? At the very end of the show again?
He should come out at the beginning.
No, then you're just asking for, because what else he got on the card?
Well, he didn't let me finish. He didn't let me finish, Joel.
No.
He should come out at the beginning and just stand in the ring the whole time. Cares about all these other matches, all this dumb stuff going on. Just come out. It just milks the reaction the entire time. Maybe Solo comes out and he beats up Solo, and then the Tongans come out and they get beat up as well. It just milks it. And then right as the show is about to go off the air, Roman's just, standing tall. He's about to, you can see the one raising, but then the show ends. You don't know if he raises the one or not. Just 2 hours of Roman Reigns standing, milking the reaction. If people come out, they just get beat up. I don't really care who gets beat up.
No, stuff just happens around him.
Nah. Roman beats the hell out of him. Bring out Kevin, bring out Cody, bring out Randy, bring out Gunther, bring out Punk, bring out Drew, bring out all of Judgment Day, bring out Ricky Starks, I don't care, bring out Ricochet, bring out whoever's supposed to be at All In. Where they at? In Florida? Bring all these NXT people, Trick Williams, Ethan Page, bring Joe Hendry, get Tyson Kidd out there. He lives there doing the dungeon. Bring all of Natalia's cats. Who else is in Florida? Bring the Florida Panthers. Bring them all out. And Roman Reigns just beats the hell out of them. And then 2 seconds before the show goes off the air, he starts throwing the one, and the show goes off the air. And we don't know if he does it or not. Tune in next Friday to find out.
And the live crowd, the whole arena goes dark, and you have no idea whether or not he did it.
That's right. It's not a gauntlet. It's not a gauntlet.
Roman Reigns' appearance.
Yeah, he's not gonna pin them or anything. They're gonna run up. Roman's gonna Superman punch. Get the hell out of here.
It's the greatest Royal Rumble. In that he just
tosses everyone. No, he doesn't even toss them. Just Superman punch. They're laid out. And there's just bodies all around them. They don't roll out of the ring. Wow. Yeah. Just bodies laying around them.
I wonder how long I could actually watch something like that happen.
Oh, I'd watch that whole damn thing. It'd be the greatest wrestling segment of all time.
Nothing else is going on SmackDown, so that'd be fun.
Greatest wrestling segment ever. Just Roman Reigns punching people and then selling. Bring out Cody first. Like, wrestling is more, he's a pyro. And he's like, he puts his hand at Roman, punch him. And Cody's got to sell for 2 hours. Just laying in the ring off one Superman.
He would,
punch.
though. He would love that shit. Cody would relish. I get to sell? Oh, I'm going to sell so good. He's just going to be on the ground like, Cody would love that shit.
He's not crying. He's just out.
I didn't say he was crying. He's selling. He's I'm in pain. He's not crying about it.
Just out. Bring them all. So Roman can knock him out, and then they just got to lay there for 2 hours or less, depending on when they come out there. This is the real casino gauntlet. Much better than the casino gauntlet.
It's true. It's gonna be a busy night on SmackDown. Roman Reigns just beating the shit out of everyone.
Oh, Adrian's gonna join us in 5 minutes.
Oh, seriously? Come on, man. All right, then let me use a few minutes before we bring on Adrian because he's got a great interview that we'll talk about. But I want to plug my interview with Steve Macklin that went up yesterday. This happened to me last time I did one of these sit downs or a sit down interview before a TNA show, where it drops and then literally like 30 minutes later something goes down. My interview with Speedball Mike Bailey in Vegas. What happens like an hour after it drops? TNA officially announces that Scott D'Amore has been fired. That was back in January. What happens this time? We dropped the Macklin interview on Wednesday at noon. An hour or so later, AEW Y'all In gets announced. So please go check out that interview over on the main channel. Get the views up on that. Share it with your friends. It's a really good chat me and Macklin had. So really want to put that out there. Get that out there. All right. The other guy who did a really big interview is here. So he's going to join us now. Ladies and gentlemen, the one
he interviewed another Steve. You both interviewed Steves.
That's true. We had a good time. The other Steve interviewer is here. Adrian Hernandez joins us now. Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, Jeremy. Thank you for respecting my job.
Why would you do that?
Because
I didn't realize you were on the air. I'm sorry.
We're on there. Technically, I'm talking on two very, very
great
look
radio
at this, man. Shows. You know what I'm saying? This one a little bit more important. I don't have my camera. I have this light, which if I put it up really close, it becomes a hostage situation,
Yeah, that
like the
doesn't look
Dark
good.
Knight scene.
Where are they
Yeah.
holding you?
So
Where should we send them?
yes.
Where are they? Where are you?
But what's up, guys? Thank you for the invite. How are you guys doing?
Well, doing well. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we were talking about your Steve Austin interview, which you dropped like literally as we went on air, but I wanted to hear the WrestleMania 40 answer that I muted Joel and I listened to your interview with Austin and then I transcribed and I did the article while we were on air. So it looked like a very fun interview. You know, you did about 27 minutes with him. I know you talked a lot about like rally racing and stuff, but it looked really fun.
Yeah, first off, you're a psychopath. Salute to you.
Wait a
Transcribing
minute.
while the show and also muting your co-host
You
is
muted me?
diabolical.
Oh yeah.
What
If
the
you
heck?
go back and watch,
No,
like,
I know. I thought you were just concentrating on transcribing. You muted me?
yeah, why would I actually listen to you? I was listening to Adrian Austin.
Okay, I'm not your guys' therapist. I will say,
You are the third man in this competition. So
the interview was surreal to get. You know, the reason why the show is called Unlikely is because me getting to talk to him seems very unlikely in my opinion. But it was great. You know, obviously he was here for a race. The race is about to start, and like he's racing to Reno, Nevada. And for those that don't know, from Las Vegas to Reno, it's like 9 hours. And with those buggies that Steve likes to call them, like it's like an 11-hour race with no pit stops, no stopping to pee or anything. It's insane. I had no idea that it was that intense. But that was the primary focus. The gentleman that was next to him, his name was Zach Kissman. Like he made it very intentional that he wanted him to be a part of the part of the interview. And he was very like, shout out to my team because all these people helped me. Because this ended up coming from he did this for the TV show on USA Network last year and ended up loving it and went 10 toes deep into it and has now competed in multiple races and won. So I tried to respect the fact that I was here because of the racing. They allowed me, they asked, and I was like, hey, is it okay if we talk a little wrestling at the end, which is what we got to. So for those expecting a purely wrestling interview, that's coming. But for this one, it was surreal. Like I was like, oh snap. And I was lucky enough to have a good production company help me out with the camera work and stuff like that, which always freaks me out because I feel like it's 60 minutes when we're just talking about wrestling. But yeah, I hope people like it. It's weird. I feel like this is going to be my most watched interview. I don't feel like I gave my best, but I hope people really do enjoy it.
Look, you asked the question that I think everybody wanted to ask, and Austin has not done a ton of media since really this whole year. He did the article with The Athletic, and maybe he's done like some kind of one-off appearances, but nobody has asked about WrestleMania 40 because again, he hasn't done a whole lot, or just nobody's gotten a hold of him, or he hasn't commented on it. Everyone wanted to know: was he planned? Was he contacted? What happened? And you asked that, and regardless of any other wrestling that you did or didn't get to talk about, like I think you asked the most important question, the question that I think everybody wanted to answer. And so that alone is going to make it, and it already is. I see it already circulating around. Alone is just going to make it a newsworthy interview. So thank you for asking that.
No, of course. And then he jumped the gun and was like, yeah, and WrestleMania, the hotel we were at was literally 2 miles away from Allegiant Stadium. So he's like, hey, and that's right down the street. And I didn't realize that he lived here. I thought that he was still in Texas. I didn't realize that he sold the ranch years ago in like 2017 in Nevada. I will say behind the scenes, I did get invited to the ranch. Get a round of applause for that.
Look at that.
Can we go? Yeah, and he also said I was much better than the New York Times guy, the Athletic guy. So can we get a round of applause for that? Let's go.
Let's go.
But it was cool, like even in talking about racing and stuff, there were certain points where he like gets really in depth, and I was like, oh, it's cool to know that he still has a passion for something, because I'm like, okay, because that passion is still there for wrestling, which I also asked him too. I was like, hey man, do you still get the itch? Are you okay if the Kevin Owens thing is really your final, not appearance, but final feud or program, however, whatever phrase you want to use? And he was like, yes, but no, I still want to, like, even the racing, he's like, he's won 5 races. This will be his 6th. This is, again, an 11-hour one. He's never done that. And it's kind of like the Star Wars, the first Young Skywalker. What did they call it? The race, the pod racing, or like
Oh,
even if you finish the race in your last, it's still congratulations because no one finishes the race. But his passion in talking about that, it was cool to be like, oh, he still has that hunger for wrestling and he still cares. And I wanted to be respectful of my guy Zach, who was there for like the final 10 minutes. He was kind of, you know what I mean, friend zone third wheel. But I tried to be respectful and get them both in the conversation and respect the reason why I was there, which was the racing. But it's still insane. It's still surreal. It's crazy. I don't know how this happened, but it happened. Holy shit.
I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're also on another show, your own show right now, which is much more important. But I do have to ask because I didn't get a chance to ask you about this when we were in Toronto, and I don't remember if it lined up. But like, you talked to my guy J Dub. Like, what was going on there?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Excuse me. Oh, you're talking about your Thunder guy.
Yeah.
Shout out. Yeah, I was like, hold on a second. Who did I was like, I ain't talking to no JW at the GCW show. I just talked to Gabe Kidd. That guy's super cool. Him and his brother. So for people that don't know, there was a Call of Duty, like a first hands event for all the NBA players who can afford to buy 50 million copies. So of course they'll let them play the game first for the new Black Ops 6 or whatever that's coming out in November. And because it was Summer League, there was a lot of NBA players. Bronny James just popped up, and he was the number one guy asking the most questions, a complete nerd. I loved it. Also a super cool dude. I got to talk to him for a few minutes, and it's like, oh, he's down to earth. Shout out to him, because I wouldn't be if my dad was LeBron. But J-Dub was like, he was cool. Him and his brother were actually arguing about who was like a bigger nerd, because each of them were like, I don't really play that much. And he's like, you're lying. And he's like, are you going to take your PlayStation on the road during road trips? And he's like, no. And then there was a cool back and forth and stuff. But it was cool. And I got to ask him the most important question, which is like, is there more than just an Applebee's in Oklahoma City? And he said,
wow,
there is, but not much. So that was important to me.
I did ask you this on Twitter, but like, did you bark? Did you bark with him?
No barking.
Oh, that's his thing. You know that, right?
I don't care. I'm from Cleveland. We originated the bark, the Browns, the dog pound, the Miz was there.
Sucks, though.
You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, sure. But the Bengals are cool. You know what?
I'm not a Bengals fan.
Hey,
I'm not a Bengals fan.
My guy Rick with this Cincinnati agenda. Like, what are we gonna do in Cincinnati? Eat chili? Like Cleveland, major sports town, facilities, beautiful restaurants, no Ubers. But there's no Ubers in Cincinnati either. That's a whole different topic. But give me a break.
I
don't have the energy to continue. I wanted to go further, but that's it. Cleveland over Cincinnati on the Fightful platform. Just need to say that.
My football team sucks, so
I won't disagree with it.
About that.
Joel's like, I'm Canadian.
I am. I'm very much. I'm happy with my Canadianism, and that's happy.
Adrian, let everybody know where they can find you at, and plug everything one more time.
Heavyweight Radio on Instagram and TikTok. The YouTube is Adrian CLE93. The Stone Cold Steve Austin interview is up there right now. Got to talk to Big E, Omos, Chelsea Green, Bailey at SummerSlam. Have a Trish Stratus interview that was surreal a few weeks ago too. So this past month I've been very lucky with interviews and stuff. Shout out to everybody except aggregators like Fadeaway Media and you other guys too. Please, if you're going to take any clips from the interview, just know I have the copyright Twitter link right here to shut that shit the F down. Damn. Thank you very much.
Let's go. I appreciate you, Adrian. Thanks, man.
Love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
I appreciate you. Oh, the one and only Adrian Hernandez. Is he going to get himself out of here, or am I?
It's always
kick me out.
Oh, let's go. Kick you out.
Is that weird awkwardness of who's going to remove who from the chat?
You just leave the window. That's all you got to do. Just X out of the window if you're on the thing. He's still hanging out backstage. It's fine. We're at the end of our show regardless. Someone's saying, as long as there's a Tim Hortons, Joel's a happy camper. I despise Tim Hortons more than anything in the world.
I learned there's like 2 Tim Hortons like 20 minutes away from me. 2 of them.
Yeah, and they're trash.
Oh, I did have Tim Hortons when I was in Toronto. It was fine. Like it was okay.
It's McDonald's of coffee.
Yeah, but sometimes you just need that stuff. I didn't have their coffee though. They had some fine donuts. It was fine.
That's fine. We're at the end of our rope. We're done. Is
Yeah,
there
Adrian's like, I just want to watch. Like, literally, we're wrapping up. Like, we stayed on because I saw your message that you were going to be here in 5 minutes. I was like, okay, we'll stay on to talk to Adrian for a couple minutes, and then we're done. So
that's fine. Go watch the wrestling this weekend if you want, or don't. I don't care. Go enjoy your weekend. Watch the Macklin interview, for the love of God. Please get those numbers up. Talk TNA with Macklin and a whole lot of other stuff. We also talk about Deonna Purrazzo and her time in AEW and everything going on there.
Did you get in trouble for that?
Probably. Who cares? I made a comment on the TNA post show that was very funny and offhand. I'll tell you about it off the air. For Jeremy Lambert, for Adrian Hernandez, I am Agile Pearl, JOELPARL, ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one.